Welcome back, everybody. This is Mark 177 of Geeks Chasing Squirrels Across the Multiverse. My name is Greg. I am the Bat Daddy 52, and we got a bunch of stuff to talk about this week. It's going to be really fun. Some penultimates. We got the Return of Titans, and beyond that, actually, I guess not a bunch of stuff, just some really cool penultimate stuff. So, a couple trailers this week, but either way, a few squirrels will be in there too. A lot of fun stuff. Here with my homies. Sarah, what's up?
Hey guys, what's going on? I'm just enjoying the birthday weekend.
Yeah. Hell yeah. 26.
Happy birthday again.
What? I remember that
year. Anyway, so I'm going to enjoy that and bring that all up into the weekend.
You got a pretty good birthday present.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
I know you want to start off. Go ahead and start off.
Yeah, so I'm just trying to, I got all my pops. I got all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And I've got a couple of helmets. I've got the Armorer, which I got from CLXXVII a couple of years ago, which was super cool. And then, of course, I had to have, represent my boy, Darth Revan. So I got that one too.
Yeah.
But after all the really fun stuff, especially from last CLXXVII on that, so we finally added Bo-Katan to the to the collection.
That is a badass helmet. That is a badass helmet.
This is actually the Black Series.
Okay.
So for anybody that's out there looking for, especially the Bo-Katan helmet right now, it actually is on sale. Snag this little beauty on the Amazon. So
there you go.
So just adding to the collection.
There you go. Well, you also got stuff from Lori too, right? The Path of the Pale Rider stuff.
Yes, actually.
Yeah. And all I got my comic the other day. So you got other stuff though, right?
Yeah. Well, I was feeling a little generous, so I added a little bit more to the Kickstarter to kind of help things along. So, you guys, if y'all know me, I have this pop addiction. So he finally came. So this is the Jude St. Clair pop. I don't know if you guys can see him. And then also this is a custom pop. So it's a one of a kind, type little deal here. So this one's going to go in a special place.
There you go.
Got T-shirt, the book, that kind of thing. So it's a lot of cool stuff. And especially after reading the issue 2, man, I can't wait till issue 3.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I was in contact with her a couple days ago. We need to schedule for her to come on here and start talking about episode 3.
Yeah, I sent her a message today, let her know how I got and everything, because it popped in. I was like, what is this? I was like, ooh, Merry Christmas. Happy birthday to me. So,
yeah, she sent me a message to verify my address, and she was like, surprise on the way, and then sent me a picture of like right before she shipped it out. I got it a couple days later. It was awesome. So really love this comic.
Cool book. Yeah, it's really good. I'm enjoying the story. So we'll definitely have to get her back on here. So
Ross, I'm sorry, man. I didn't even introduce you, did I? Me and Sarah went off on a whole little tangent there, talking about all kinds of different stuff.
I'm just over here jealous because you guys are getting that, and I don't have any place to put it, so I didn't even get on board with it. I haven't gotten on board with much of anything because I've been very minimalist of purchasing anything because, got to buy a house. So fun there.
Hey, fun trick, man. Right behind me here. Just pick up. I had the pencil on it right there. Just pick up some J channel and nail that to the wall. And comics fit perfect on J channel. I'm telling you, man. It's perfect. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
So, anyway, let's get it going, y'all. What do you want to start with? You want to start with news? You want to start with trailers? You want to start with what we were watching this week? We'll save shows for last. I know me and Sarah watched one thing this week, not together, but oddly enough on the same night, and then talked about it the next day with 80 for Brady. You remember that? Yeah. My wife turned that on. We were playing a game. My wife turned that on. I was like, you know what? I'll watch it. Whatever.
Well, I
actually a pretty good movie
because I thought it was like super cute, but I never got the opportunity to. And I kind of like totally forgot it. But then you were probably like me, just kind of looking. It's like, oh, what is this? So yeah, that was.
It was a fun movie. It's funny because like my wife loves these kind of things, and like I said, it was cute. Anybody can watch this, kind of enjoy it if you go into it knowing it's just kind of a funny movie. But like afterwards, it's like based on a true story. And Mark's like, "Oh, I can't believe that was a true story." I'm like, "It's not a true story." So no, but it said based on a true story. I was like, "Based on a true story." It's like spoilers. It's like for anybody who hadn't watched it, I promise you that a woman did not go into the coaching booth during the Super Bowl and tell Tom Brady the plays to play, or tell the
Or to tell him pull the shit together.
Yeah, like I promise you that didn't really happen. Now the story of the lady with cancer who can't, her friends were together, found unity watching the Patriots and Tom Brady. That's believable, very believable, and probably is the truth of the story. I like how they dramatize it for this movie, though. Actresses are great. Just a really fun movie. I would recommend it. It's a fun little watch. What is it? 2 hours max?
Yeah, it's like it's
short.
It was released in theater, so typical movie.
It actually knocked Avatar out of the #1 spot, I think.
Oh, did it?
That was the movie that knocked Avatar out of the #1 spot for that weekend when it came out. I'm pretty sure it was either Avatar.
Wow.
It was, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like that was the movie that did it. That movie made a lot more money than people were thinking it was going to make.
Well, there are a lot of Patriots fans.
There are.
Well, it's not just that. You don't necessarily have, like I said. It's like I was telling you guys. There was the one scene. I kind of teared up a little bit because it wasn't because of it was the Patriots. It's because if that was me in that situation, my team, me seeing this, I'd lose my shit. I would just absolutely lose my shit because to me it was like, it's your team. You're just. Kind of like that first time you had to Bank of America. You're just like,
right.
You feel like you're walking to Mecca. It's that kind of thing. You're just like, oh my God, this is the most awesome shit ever. So that was kind of the thing. But hopefully, like I said, I hope I'm not 80 before Carolina goes to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, no.
Well, freaking wins one.
You know what's funny is you told me you teared up in that scene, and I remember specifically in that scene thinking about you, and I was like, man, if that was Sarah and Brian Zylstra. Well, I could see you and Zylstra right there in that moment,
What about Kuechly?
Kuechly too, yeah. But just being that it was Edelman, their wide receiver, I was like, that's her and Zylstra right there. Which, by the way, did you all see we signed Demir Bird again today?
And that's what I'm saying. That's what's so crazy about it. So, it's, being a football fan and, being so passionate about my team, it's like I really, felt where these ladies were coming from. It's just like, and like you said, that one scene, I thought that was a great scene too, even though it's highly improbable. But it's like, dude, let's get your shit together. All right, I know you can do this. Let's pull it together. And then of course, it's like, fuck yeah. So there's some really cute stuff to it.
Oh yeah. I absolutely hate the Patriots, just because they beat Carolina in the Super Bowl. But I respect Tom Brady for being what Tom Brady is and the dynasty that he was in. But it was fun. It was fun to watch Atlanta lose that game again. I'm not gonna lie, that was the best part of this movie, was watching Atlanta lose that game again, being up 28-3 and losing that game again. That was the most fun part. And that's what I was telling the kids
because they're like, what is it? I said, you guys watch this game. You guys watch this game because I can remember very, very specifically. That was the only time in my life I have ever pulled for New England. If that tells you what I think about Atlanta.
I remember that Super Bowl. Like I had my neighbors on both sides of me when I lived in Kernersville at that point in time, on both sides of me over, and they all left because they had to go to work the next day at like midway third quarter, right before the comeback started. Because they were like, "This game's over. It's 28-3, halfway through the third quarter. This game's over." I think it was like 3 minutes left in the third quarter before they started making that comeback. But either way, we're talking about sports now.
Well, and that's what's so bad about it too, because I talk shit about Matt Ryan then, and I was talking shit about Matt Ryan watching this game too. I'm like, yeah, it was just, it was wild.
It's fun to relive that memory. Hard to say. I'd like to see two teams that I absolutely hate: Atlanta Falcons and the New England Patriots in the Super Bowl. You would think that I would never want to rewatch that Super Bowl again, but I could watch Atlanta lose that Super Bowl over and over and over again.
Oh,
I have always
asked
brother, because I've seen the picture of it, but like, how real are the pictures of the people that got the tattoos of 28-3 before the game was over? Like, what? Especially like, what if they, like I've seen that, and like it's so, like, you got to carry that for the rest of your life. You did that to yourself, and your team did that to you. I hope that you die unhappy.
Yeah. As a person who has tattoos on them they don't want anymore. I like tattoos, don't get me wrong. I love my tattoos, but there's one specific tattoo that I don't want anymore. Think about what you're doing.
Yeah, you got to think long and hard. Yeah.
Think about what you're doing. So that's all I'm saying. So don't make a bet with a tattoo. Let's put it that way. All right? Don't make a bet with a tattoo.
What else have you watched?
So what else have I watched? Oh, I watched one episode. I haven't gotten into it yet, but I want to watch the rest of it of a show called Behind Her Eyes on Netflix. It's a limited series, came out in 2021. It's pretty good. It's a drama, like it's just a straight drama. It's about a man cheating on his wife and the scandal between the girl that he's cheating with and his wife. And just from what I can tell with the first episode, the wife seems like she's like psycho crazy, not like Karen psycho crazy, like Nightmare Before Christmas psycho crazy. You know, that kind of psycho crazy. Yeah. I don't know, like if I were just to watch this like first episode and not know anything about it, I probably wouldn't continue to watch it. My friends at work tell me this is a really, really good series and the ending is amazing. So I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. It's pretty adult. I wouldn't let kids watch it. But so far pretty good. I'm probably going to get that done throughout the rest of the week. I kind of want Ashley to watch it with me. She didn't catch a lot of the first episode, but she was kind of into it. So I'll probably rewatch the first episode, but it's called Behind Her Eyes. It's pretty good. Beyond that, I've just been watching a lot of basketball this week. Playoffs are starting. A lot of stuff coming down. So just been basketball for me. What about y'all?
I've kind of been periodically watching this show on Paramount Plus called Why Women Kill.
Ooh. Okay.
I love it. It's basically these vignettes. So it's in, I think, the 50s, 60s, 80s, and then like now.
Okay.
So it's got, oh God, all I can think of is Snow White from, it's Jennifer Goodwin, I believe. Snow White from, I can't even think of the show.
Ever After?
Maybe. Yes.
Oh.
So it was her.
Nailed it.
And then you also have Lucy Liu, which I love her to death, but pink, like the bright pink lipstick does not work for her.
Right.
Does not work for her. But she can rock some shoulder pads though. She looks gorgeous. And then the other one is it's like some other actors or whatnot. But it's kind of, you realize something happens to the husband.
Mm-hmm.
And then it kind of goes back and like tells the story leading up to it. I forgot how many seasons it is, but it's hilarious. I mean, it is absolutely hilarious. I mean, there's a lot of different like situations and what, because especially the first one is like, like your traditional husband, wife, like I said, the 50s type thing, everything looks great, but like the whole dichotomy of, the wife cooks, the homemaker that way, where the husband is, he goes to the office and is, the breadwinner, but then, what's going on behind the scenes with that. And then also with the 80s, it's like the typical, it's super rich, but everything centers around this one house, which is basically like this mansion. So everybody has lived in this house.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just the situations are insane. I mean, it's wild. Like the newest one, or the one that's set in like this time period, there's a throuple. So you got that going on too, which that's the one. I think I'm into. I forgot how many. I think I'm almost finished the first season, but it's wild. I just sit back and laugh. I mean, it's hilarious. I mean, it is kind of. I don't know. I just think it's funny. I think Brian usually walks out of the room when I turn on. He's like, "What are you watching?" Why Women Kill? He's like, "Okay."
All right.
Well, I mean, the name itself.
He doesn't want to know how it's coming. Is what it is.
Yeah.
He don't want to know how it's coming.
It's like,
but yeah,
I've always found it funny why people want to watch Lifetime, movies about like, abductions or people being killed. I'm like, why do you want to go through that? It's not, these aren't like documentary shows about like, hey, here's what you should do if this ever happens to you. These are like dramatized stories in the worst possible way.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, here's what happened. And, like, this could happen to you in real life.
Because people thrive on violence, man. That's what is so funny. Is like, and it's not an abnormal thing. I'm telling you, that's why they had the gladiator games in the Roman times. That's why we have games like football and soccer and hockey and full contact boxing, contact sports now. It's so that way you can watch that and you can get your release of that and still maintain sanity in society. You get your release from watching other people beat each other up. I hate to, it sounds so crazy to say that, but that's what that is for. Like, because people have to have that release. It's a natural feeling to want to have that, to want to fuck something up. You know, even if it's go outside and chop something with an axe, hit a
Rage
wall.
rooms. That's
Yeah,
why you have rage
exactly.
rooms
Everybody
now.
has those feelings. I don't care how passive you are, and that's why sports that are competitive sports that are very high impact collision sports like hockey, football, stuff like that are so compelling to people, and that's why people are more attracted to negative news than they are positive news.
Oh yeah.
So,
Anyway,
sorry.
that's what I've been
Squirrel.
watching.
Squirrel. What have
How
you been
about you,
watching,
Ralph?
Ross? I've not watched the newest episode of Ted Lasso. Been on that. Had one of my good characters from actually a show kind of like the one you were describing, Sarah. That space show that I like on Apple TV. What is it called? For All Mankind. They do the same kind of thing. It's a bunch of stories to where it's told over like a series of time frames, more or less decades. And anyway, one of the main characters on that was on Ted Lasso. So cool. Once again, can't recommend it enough. I've still been watching Yellow Jackets. Took a dark turn. Ooh, so dark.
Yeah?
So dark.
Yeah.
I don't know. Show's intriguing. Once again, just a different plot, and I like the story that they have. So, finished Agent Elvis finally.
Good too. Yeah.
Actually today, because I think I was trying to watch it last night when I knew I was getting tired, because I was like, I want to watch Star Trek, but like I don't think there's enough hours in this day for me to watch it. So I didn't finish Picard last night. I watched it tonight, and I had to rewatch Agent Elvis because I fell asleep during like the last episode and a half.
Yeah.
And that's really about it. I had a whole lot of time to watch stuff this week.
Okay. Well, that's a good, actually, kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Segue into it. Let's just talk about Agent Elvis real quick, because I'm not going to lie, man. I watched the majority of it about 2 weeks ago. I watched the last 3 episodes last week, so I don't remember a ton about it, like specifics. It's a fun show, though. Like I said, I kind of describe it as, what did I compare it to? Hit Monkey and Invincible. You know?
Those work for me.
Yeah, Matthew McConaughey does a great job in it. You can hear Don Cheadle. Who else famous? There's a bunch of famous people that voice these characters.
Caitlin Olsen, Johnny Knoxville.
Yeah, Johnny Knoxville. That's right.
And
the
guy that plays Howard. Man,
who does he voice? I know you're talking about.
Who's he voiced by? He's voiced by. I gotta pull it up because
I hear you.
It is a face.
We're missing some people. It's got a great cast, and the show is it's got a kind of crazy plot to follow. Every episode's kind of its own little episode, but there's always this backline story throughout the whole thing going on, and there's a little bit of detail into the background of the entire thing as you go. It's funny because this was actually produced by his daughter, wasn't it?
Priscilla's one of the creators.
Yeah. So it's fun because it's a timepiece. You get to see a lot of famous characters in there, or they portray a lot of famous people in there, and it's what is it, 36-minute episodes, or between that 28 to 36-minute episodes, 10 of them.
Yeah.
If you get a chance, check it out. It's a quick watch. It's a really fun little series. It's definitely going to have a second season, or I'm going to be kind of pissed off the way the first season left out. It leaves a big cliffhanger at the end of season 1. So I'm expecting a second season, especially with big names like they have in this show. But it is Netflix. We know how Netflix is.
Oh yeah, I'm still.
So
what was it, Jupiter? Or,
yeah.
What was that show? Damn it! I got invested.
Jupiter
every
Ascending,
single time.
Jupiter Rising, Jupiter Ascending, Jupiter.
Whatever the movie's not called.
Something like that. Yeah.
The other guy was the guy who voices Jankum Pog in Prodigy. Jason Mantzoukas. Is it
okay?
Zaukas. Anyway, I know him from The League. If you ever watched The League, he plays the crazy cousin that shows up.
I've watched it, but I can't remember enough about it. Yeah.
I love The League. Fantastic show. Love it. And I'm not even a big fantasy football person, but I think the show is fantastic because it's filthy. I love the shit Don Cheadle plays such a great.
He does.
Great character in this show. I love, at one point he picks up the phone. He's like, "Say words, go." I'm like, that's what I want to say from now on. Whenever I pick up the phone, I'm like, that's it. That's what I want to say. Like, why? Because I'm just a giant asshole and I want to be that. Like that's perfect. I mean, there's an episode where, there's a sub level in this place, and the only way you can open it up is by using Don Cheadle, the commander. He sticks his penis into a glory hole, essentially, and it opens the door to get into the elevator. Like, the shit's crazy. But what I love about this show is how much they stay true to the Elvis story.
Yeah,
all of it is like true Elvis stuff, and they play it on such a good bar of storytelling that the rest of it is just icing on the cake.
I agree. Yeah. Like I said, there's actually, now you say that, I can think about it, there's kind of 3 storylines going in there. There's just the throwaway, whatever they have in the episode. That's fun stuff to see. There's the backstory of the agency that he's being recruited by, and you now at the end don't know. I got to figure out what's going on with this guy, man. They leave you on a cliffhanger, like I said, to find out what's happening. And then they go through key moments in Elvis history and put him there. And this is all stuff that happens in between. And I love how it just flipped from him being a double agent to him playing in a concert. just that quickly. Just bam, playing in a concert.
It makes you think, like if Elvis is as crazy as, history has led us to believe, like, because he's had a crazy, I don't know if you want to call it checkered past, but just a very interesting past, right? So they had that moment where he meets Nixon. And the whole point is that he's surveilling, trying to get information out of the White House that shouldn't have ended up in the White House. And then it plays the whole thing in the very historical manner. And I love every bit of it. Because we've seen enough. I mean, number one, if you watch the Elvis movie, you've got pretty good knowledge of it. But I've watched enough Elvis stuff over the years to pick up on all the things that they were talking about. And every bit of it with, his wife just being kind of off to the wayside, his plane, Howard Hughes. I mean, like, that character is so insane. He is if you've ever watched Archer, Howard Hughes plays I can't remember the guy's name, but he's always the guy that's like, like, stop, my penis can only get so erect. It's that moment where, like, he's always creating weird sex dolls and like chemistry and like doing all sorts of stuff. Howard Hughes is that crazy person in this show, which is true because Howard Hughes was nuts, but at the same time they play it up like to the nth degree for this guy. Love it. I didn't think I was gonna like Caitlin Olsen voice acting a whole lot. CC with 2 E's.
2 E's? CC with an E. I don't know. Either way. Yeah. Yeah. I didn't know anything about her going in. I like the character though. Like, I love the character.
Yeah. Matthew McConaughey. All right. Man nails it.
Yeah. No, man. I would just recommend this. Like I said, it's a quick watch. This is something you could sit down seriously on a Sunday morning if you wake up, just by chance wake up at like 7 in the morning, because it happens to me sometimes on Sunday. Just lay in bed till 9 and watch this whole series. Be worth
Very
it.
True.
Well, maybe 10.
Okay, I get the hint. I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
This is what you're doing tomorrow, Sarah.
Yeah. You'll like it. You'll like it though. Yeah, that's pretty much Agent Elvis. Like I said, there's not a ton to give away on this. You follow over through his times. He's a double agent, and Don Cheadle's a horn dog commander. I guess you could call him. Is that a good way to describe him? So.
And since it's got the name Agent in it also. If you guys still haven't watched Night Agent, I definitely recommend that.
I haven't yet, but I want to.
I'm meaning to start that.
Yeah, Netflix keeps telling me to.
It's a good watch. That one and the other one that was a little bit more comical. I can't remember the name of it, but yeah, it was definitely good watches. Like, Netflix has been so miss for me, I would say, in the past while, that I'm glad to see good things come out of it. So don't start that yet.
Pickle, we're getting there, Pickle. Don't worry. He's got a comment in the chat. We're getting there, Pickle. I think we might save. I don't know. We don't have to save. But
I'm gonna have to say that until last, because that's
okay. Well, let's go ahead. Okay. Before we get into shows, do we have news and trailers we want to talk about? Let's get that out of the way, then we'll start talking about some shows.
It's light news. I mean, there's been casting for some things. A couple DC shows got some casting, but I mean, really, I mean, as far as us, like for the things that we do, streaming, there's going to be a Harry Potter show. Oh, HBO is apparently just becoming Max now. I guess that, they been tons of articles that are like, Warner Brothers is going to finally toughen up against, all this streaming war stuff. But it is who do they merge with?
Discovery.
Discovery
Plus.
Yeah.
Or Discovery,
so I think that whole thing is becoming just known as Max right now, and they're dropping the HBO part. So it seems like HBO is going to be one of the boxes under the branch, when you go on there and it's like, DC and Comedy Central and like whatever else like properties they have. It's kind of like HBO might be one of those now.
So there's going to be a Max button on my remote when I order it next, is what you're saying?
Yeah. End of May, I think is when they're changing.
Okay.
Well,
my dog chews up my remote every month, so I have to order a few. I order about 2 remotes a month. So, and every time I order them, they come with different buttons on them. Like sometimes it has like Netflix and Disney Plus and Hulu. Sometimes it has, I don't know, Paramount Plus and Netflix, and it's crazy.
Or like Netflix and Prime or something like that.
I'm like, how do they know what I'm subscribing to? Are they just assuming that I have these programs that I just want a quick button to go to it? That's weird.
You're one of many people.
Yeah. I think the only thing I don't own is Apple TV, which, by the way, is never on a Roku remote. I've not seen Apple TV on a Roku remote one time.
They haven't had the greatest agreements over the years. So there's been a lot of grandstanding on not bringing to certain platforms and doing certain things. So,
dude, I'm sorry. I had a basketball game streaming, and right now there's a wrestling campaign on. And did you know that I just saw Sting, and it's AEW. I just saw Sting and Chris Jericho wrestling. Can you believe Sting and Chris Jericho are still wrestling, Ross?
Can they? I remember those guys.
Apparently they can.
Can they wrestle and get Social Security at the same time?
I don't know. Right?
Damn. I don't know. I just saw it though. I was like, that was Sting. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Crazy. I haven't watched a lot of AEW. I watched a little bit when it started out. Me and Ross, I used to be huge WCW and WWF fans. Me and Ashley went through a big phase when I was in the Army with WWE. And it was actually pretty cool because my unit hosted the WWE Troop for the Troops. So they came and worked out with us. They hung out with my unit the whole weekend. So I got to meet all these characters. Me and Ashley got to sit front row at it. We were in the intro for Tribute to the Troops for like 4 years. It was pretty cool. So we used to be really big in wrestling, but I hadn't got into it in quite a while. I think when the Rock Cena stuff kind of peaked, that was when me and Ashley kind of, exited stage right from the whole.
I got out of it like after like basically Stone Cold, so like 97, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because I saw the birth of the Rock, from Rocky Maivia up until
the Nation of Domination. You remember that? Yeah.
But I mean, like I said, I'm of the, the Warrior, the Hogan, like from like 88, 89, 90. I mean, I remember the Rockers, before I remember Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty. That's what I think of. That's so that's why it's crazy when I see a lot of these wrestlers that I basically grew up with now, and it's like they are like hobbling, and a lot of them aren't on this earth anymore.
No, the ones that are don't age very well.
Maybe that's what's wrong with me right now, to be truly honest with you, because Ross, I know me and you used to literally power bomb each other onto my couch in my basement downstairs. We broke the couch, and I'm not talking about like kids playing around. I mean, like just like in WWE and WWF, like literal power bombs.
I have a broken toe.
We learned how to do it. Yeah, we used to do all that stuff to each other. It was crazy.
Boys, you not supposed to go that far.
If you know how to take the hit, it's not that bad. And if you know how to do it right, there's no pain at all. Yeah. We used to do it and then get up and do it again. So, and it's funny because I think that was kind of a reality check for us when we were younger. The fact that we were seeing these people do this, and I was like, we can literally do that in my living room. On like, so I don't know. Oh, I thought that Shawn Michaels.
So you're like the original Hardy Boys.
Yeah,
or the basement with the slab floor on it. Nothing like concrete with a thin layer of industrial carpet to cover it.
Oh, so Pickle says the NWO storyline ended my wrestling watching. Pickle, if you're talking about the same thing that me, I know that was a changing point in my life. The night that the Wolfpack broke up, that Hogan and them turned on the Wolfpack, I literally did not want to go to school the next day. I was so devastated. I was so upset. I wanted so badly to be sick and not go to school that day because I didn't want to talk to anybody about it. I didn't want it to be real. I just wanted to go to bed and that to be done. And if that's the moment you're talking about, I get that because I wanted to stop watching wrestling at that point too. I was done. They got me. They got me there. So White Chocolate Espresso says he used to backyard wrestle. They found a wooden table. They got thrown. Yeah.
Why am I not surprised?
That's the way to do it. That's the way to do it.
I love these stories.
Yeah. But no, wrestling is fun. And you know the cool thing, Ross, I don't know if you know this, man, about being a vet. You can get into any WWE wrestling event for free except WrestleMania.
Yep.
Any pay-per-view, any if you're in a city that's happening, you can go for free. And you just get whatever tickets are available. Me and Ashley used to go do that. Like if it was coming to Greensboro, Winston, we just go. It was free. Why not? You know, go spend $30 on beer and have a good night watching wrestling.
It's like Vegas. There's a handful of things I can scoot around Vegas and not spend more than a couple bucks.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about some trailers. Big squirrel, just wrestling squirrel. What do we got? We got 2 trailers this week, really. I guess that we want to talk about. I guess the Marvels and the Penguin teaser would be the only 2 real ones that I would be.
Actually, one more. The other one I was thinking of, because we talked last week about the Ahsoka trailer, but there was the Visions trailer, which looked really good. I don't know if you guys watched that.
Yeah, I did, but goldfish memory. I don't remember a ton about it. I just remember it looks good. Star Wars. Animated.
A lot of crazy animation. There's stop motion animation, claymation type stuff. I liked Visions the first go round. I have not revisited it because it was so short that I felt like I definitely grabbed it when I watched it the first time.
Did you say they're doing stop motion too?
Yeah.
Really? Okay, that's cool because I love that kind of storytelling. If you haven't seen Iron Man Extremists, that's the best stop motion thing I've ever seen in my life is Iron Man Extremists on Netflix.
There's a bunch of I think they're redoing 9 episodes too. They said they spanned everything from Africa, Japan, India, Chile. Like they're just all over the place with like who they picked this time. And I don't know, like I loved 2 of the stories that we got out of the 9, like a lot. And I've seen some crazy cosplay from the 2 of them. I love the black and white one, the first one they did. I can't remember, was it The Last Duel? It might have been what it was called. But it was, I've seen people do that cosplay completely perfect. Like, perfect. And like, it's crazy. So I love the fan appreciation for all of it. And I love the fact that they are doing it again. So I'm on board with seeing what they come out with this time, because even the weirdest ones last time, there were a couple, but they're all so short that you either love what they gave you, or you're like, man, not that big of a deal. I wasted 7 to 9 minutes, so not crazy. And there were a couple on the first go round that were a little bit more kiddish, but look, I wasn't expecting all 9 of them to be for me. So it worked out. I'm happy. May the 4th. So not only do you get all the Visions episodes for this round on May the 4th, you get to go see Guardians 2 if you choose.
There you go. Don't know. Might see it. Not sure. I haven't had a chance to go see a movie a lot lately, and I got to be very picky and choosy about what I go see. So I might see it.
Hold on, is this a true story?
What?
Damn, dude.
Hang on. Let's see. True story. My son was 4. He used to watch wrestling with me and went Head Start. He had a little girl in the head chair because she called him a name. Yeah, okay.
Oh, no.
I mean, yeah, that was
Oh, my goodness.
There's rules because of my family. There are rules because of my family.
You made your mark, Pickle. There you go.
Oh, my
Made your
goodness.
mark in the history books.
A little pickle.
Yeah, little Pickle made the mark. That's right. All right, what's the other trailer we got here? Let's talk about the Marvels. Looks fun. I'm gonna go see the movie, or I'm gonna see the movie. I don't know if I'm gonna go to theaters and see it, but it's not because I don't want to see it in theaters, just because of I have limited time, limited money. I don't know, pick and choose movies. If it works out in that time, when I have the time off and I have the money to go see it, then I'll go see it in theaters. But it probably won't be. I mean, it's been. I can't think of the last movie I saw in theaters. Oh, Black Adam was the last movie I saw. There's been a lot of stuff out since then. Black Adam was the last
Please
one I
go
saw
see
in theaters.
something after that, because
Well, and that's the thing is, I think this movie,
Guardians, right?
I
Guardians.
think Guardians looks good. I think the Marvels looks good, but I don't know if if I want to make a grand return to the theater, I don't know if this wants to be the movie. This is going to be the movie that I want it to be. That
Well, it's not till November.
I know.
Well,
that's my beef with it.
Hopefully,
They
I'll go between now.
changed the date.
Yeah, talk about that real quick, Ross, because you were talking about that. They changed the date and didn't say anything, didn't announce it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, so this thing was supposed to come out in July, or July, I think is what I said. The original date that they cast, which look, they push dates all the time. I get it, but I didn't feel like there was a reason why they needed to push it. This movie, by the trailer, looks like they've got it pretty well completed.
Right.
Minus, whatever VFX crap they want to keep running into. I'm all for pushing deadlines if it's necessary because, people are extremely overworked at this time and age. And, there's been a whole lot of, even with the pending writer's strike, all that crap going on right now, digital artists have had a real big beef going on. I'm cool with it getting pushed, but hey, just say something. You don't need to announce it at the end of the trailer.
Right.
You wanted to see it in July, but now you get it in November.
I think it was one of the things, like you said, they didn't want people to notice.
Yeah.
I don't think, and I'm not trying to knock it, I don't think this is a movie that a lot of people had marked on their calendar as a can't wait for the scene.
A must see.
Yeah, like a must see.
And
there are people maybe.
I'll say that.
Do it.
I was a little, maybe I'll find interest in it, but I'm telling you, seeing this trailer, I like what they're doing, and I really want to see it because I like the Rambo story. I like the idea of it's a severe twist on Freaky Friday, right? It's you're not just changing the bodies at one time. There seems to be multiple things that are happening right now, and I love the fact that you can do it spanning with all these people that got power through a certain way. Mm-hmm. They have to be related somehow, and then that reason is going to be what brings them together. So I'm completely cool with it. I like what I was seeing, and I think Miss Marvel is such a fun character.
Mm-hmm.
That actress has been just living her best life this whole entire time, ever since she got that call to play.
Yeah. I will say of the Rambo character, from what I saw in the trailer, it does look like an interesting character, but that suit looks effing awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
That black and white Captain Marvel suit, almost it looked awesome. I saw that and I was like, holy shit, that's a cool suit. I'd wear that suit. It looks so cool. I enjoyed that. It's going to be a fun movie. It's Marvel. Like I said, even the worst Marvel is better than a lot of different movies, for the most part. They're still batting really, really well with me. I really liked the Miss Marvel show. It was an enjoyable show. So I don't see any reason why. I can't really say that I was a huge fan of the Captain Marvel movie. But at the same time, I can't say that I really disliked it for any reason either. There wasn't anything that stood out in it that I didn't really thought I don't like this at all. But there's nothing that stands out to me I've got to go see this again type thing. It was a good movie.
It was oddly placed. It was another period piece which came out in a time that we had just finished Infinity War. How do you bring that out after Infinity War? It was an uphill battle the whole entire way. It's just a bad placement for a new movie to come out and for it to be a period piece that is just what it needs to do. And it's tough for any movie to do that. It's tough for any movie to introduce a character that is going to be I dare say game changer because of the powers that she has. Mm-hmm. And, you saw her fly through that ship in Endgame. There's a whole lot of things that were happening. You just see her come back right there at the beginning of Endgame to save Nebula and Iron Man. It's just a whole lot. It was a whole lot that was happening at once, and it was happening at the tail end of a really great story. So I think I like this trailer specifically. I really like the fact that when they change, they're all like, what is happening? They have no idea. That's what we're led to believe in the trailer. Mm-hmm. The spacesuit, when Rambo's out there flying through space and she's taking care of something for Fury, the next thing you know, it's Miss Marvel.
Yeah.
And, she's just sitting there you're Nick Fury. She's a massive fangirl as it is. But I don't want to see anything else. I don't think that I should see this trailer now with it coming out in November because now I have to dodge things until November. But I told you guys that we should see a Marvel's trailer before Guardians came out, just because of the way that trailer timelines work. But I was really pissed when they changed that date.
Yeah. Well, you know what's funny, Ross, is you're not even on social media, and I barely am. I'm on Twitter, and you get spoiled more than I do. Like you'll send me something. You'll send me something and I'm like, oh shit, I didn't even know that, man. Like, okay.
I try my best to be safe about it. My problem ends up being that like I've been at a point where I've been so damn tired that like I'll open up like news listings that I have, you know, stuff that comes through email and stuff like that, and I'll start to read it, and it'll piss me off because like I may not get to watch Mandalorian until like Friday, and then like I read something. I told you you and I were talking about it.
That's why I asked. Like, I'll see Mandalorian,
and I'm like,
Mandalorian.
As soon as I open up an email, and I'm like, oh, why did I read it?
Well, see, that happened to Brian too. He hasn't been keeping up with it, so he came into me. He's like, I didn't know that. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, somebody showed up. I'm like, I didn't know, because that's why I try to watch it the day of, because I know better.
I try my best, but it is tough sometimes, you know.
If I can't watch it day of a show when it comes out, which I generally tend not to, then after the day it comes out, anything I see with the like Mando, anything I see with Mandalorian in, I just don't watch. I don't look at until I've seen the episode. So the only thing that's going to spoil me is somebody directly coming to me and telling me something about it, like period. And I'll tell somebody, like, if they come to be like, "Hey, did you see Mando?" Nope, I didn't. Don't say anything about it. I don't want to hear about it. You know. And here's my thing too: is I can be spoiled and still enjoy what I'm seeing. Like it doesn't bother me that much. It's cool to have a surprise sometimes, but quite honestly, I really enjoy reading something before I see it live action, and then like trying to compare the way I imagine it in my head to the way it's actually portrayed on screen. So if somebody spoils something for me, okay, that wasn't a spoiler, but now I get to think about, oh shit, how are they going to do this? And in my mind, I build this whole scene of how they're going to do this, and I compare it to, you know, what it was like. Okay, for instance, I knew how Rebels ended, but the way they did it on the screen was totally different than the way it went in my head. Totally different. Like I knew exactly how it ended. I knew that spoilers. I knew that Ezra and Thrawn were taken away and they were gone, and you never know what happens to them. I know, but in my mind, it was different the way it worked, you know. And I'm glad that I got to see the way I manifest it in my head and the way that professionals do it and put it on screen, because they were way better at it than me. So it's cool to see that.
I think,
and
for me,
White Chocolate Espresso. I do need to watch the John Wick movies. Yes.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, you do.
Yes.
I got to get up to date too. I think, like, to your point, time is the X factor in that. And if enough time has passed, then like it's okay to be a part of the story without knowing how it actually happened, then to go back and find out how it actually happened.
Yeah.
If it's immediate, like I hate being spoiled on something that I want to see for the first time, because YouTube, all of these people that make content on YouTube and their, you know, reaction videos and crap like that, I don't care about how you react to something. I want to sit there and react to it myself the way that I want to. And I'm an intrinsic person. I mean, things are pretty internal, but like, you know, like seeing characters pop up, seeing someone in live action for the first time, seeing things come together that are happening, seeing putting all the dots together in stories that have been an investment for me over the years to see a fruition that I didn't even know was going to happen come to screen. And I'm like, that's the moment I want to have, to where I'm like, oh, no, they didn't. No, they didn't. And I'm sitting there. I'm that person. I'm not going to be that's why we don't do reaction videos. That's why I'm not a part of that crap. But I love that moment for myself. So I do hate getting spoiled on things, just because I'm like, I want to enjoy it the first time the way that I want to enjoy it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. There are certain surprises that I've seen in theaters that when it happens, it takes me away. The Henry Cavill cameo at the end of, what was it, Black Adam? That one blew me away. Just didn't know it was going to happen. Completely surprised me. The Fantastic Four on the Spider-Man, was it Spider-Man No, it was Doctor Strange.
No, Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange, yeah. Blew me away. Like it is fun to see things that I really had no idea going in this is going to happen, and I don't know how they keep some things like this under wrap. But the way things are today with video and people leaking stuff, I mean, the government can't even keep things from being leaked right now. It's like, how do movies do it? You know, but I guess there's a good point. Like it's fun to be surprised, but I guess I just don't mind if somebody tells me you're going to see this character in this movie. Like, if I didn't know that, it's cool to see that surprise and see that character in that movie. But if I do know it, the only thing I'm going to be thinking is, okay, how's this going to happen? How are they going to do this? What's going to happen here? And I have a bunch of ideas in my mind. And maybe that builds expectations in my mind. It's not a good thing.
I got a scenario for you. Especially, we're talking about Donnie Yen in the chat. So, Rogue One, Darth Vader hallway scene.
Mm-hmm.
You had that movie where it had progressed this whole entire story. And we knew where it had to end. We knew where it couldn't go past, right? Mm-hmm. We knew that there could be no way that it passes A New Hope. And man, if you want to talk about those last 10 minutes of that movie, 15, 20 with the whole action scene, so freaking good. And then you get, no one talked about Darth Vader at the end. No one talked about how you get to see, Leia in that moment where, she like, this is hope. Those things right there, like, that's why I try my best to go see movies when they come out, because I don't want to read about it. And if I don't get a chance to see it for 3 or 4 days, I'm off the internet. I'm not doing it. I will adamantly refuse getting on anything that's going to spoil it for me, because unless I'm sitting there, like, I love now how news articles will say, you are here now because you are sitting at the end of the credits of a movie and you want to know whether or not there's a mid-credit scene or a post-credit scene or whatever. Right. The answer is yes or no. And if you want to know more, now you can continue to read. I will stop right there. I'm like, all I want to know is there a yes or is that a no?
Right.
Is that yes?
So how long am I going to sit here?
That's why I just Google that. I don't go to the article. Just Google, is there a mid-credit scene in this? So, no, I get that. But I mean, like, so with the Rogue One stuff, if somebody would have told you, hey, Ross, going in, there's a badass scene with Darth Vader at the end, just cutting through motherfuckers, would that have pissed you off?
Oh, yes. Because I knew that Darth Vader was in the movie, because I knew that going into it. I knew there was a whole bunch of, Darth Vader had to be in there. They made the red lenses. They did the whole thing. It was a massive bring back, but you didn't know at what level it was going to be. And, you knew Krennic was going to be the bad guy, so on and so forth. But, man, when you saw him at the end be Anakin Skywalker, Darth Vader, like, you're like, this is what I needed. Like, I needed to see how the robot man was able to make shit happen.
Right.
And he did. Like, that was a scene to where, like, I mean, you've been in a theater before where people like cheered and clapped and, like, have been in those moments, right? That's the stuff that I live for. Like, I love those things when it comes to movies and TV shows and stuff like that. So,
no, I agree.
You talk about Game of Thrones, like when Game of Thrones ended, a lot of people were unhappy, but when you see those videos, I'll reference it once again. When you see those videos where everyone is watching House of Dragon and that, like, that whole apartment building was all watching at one time, like that's what we do as, like, we can talk about how much people hate things and how much we, anger and hate is a part of it. But on the other side of it, people really enjoy watching stuff.
That's true. I mean, I guess ultimately, yes, I would love to not be spoiled, is the thing. So, I mean, but if it happens, I'm still going to end up seeing what I, intended to go see. One last point I wanted to point out about the Captain Marvel stuff. Ross, you were talking about how the movie was completely out of place, and I agree with you there. The movie's completely out of place. They could have done this movie in like 7-8 years, and it would have been fantastic. Think about having a whole universe where you have Captain Marvel in like 6-7 movies, and now you get an origin story. You do the X-Men origin stuff, the Wolverine origin stuff. That would have been a great way to do it. Is do the Captain Marvel origin movie a few years into her already being in the universe. We know she's here, but now we get the answer as to how she started. That might have been better. Well, I don't know. I think at the moment, we wanted more female representation on screen, and that was a lot of the push for that character to be there then, which is why it's kind of out of place.
The other thing that was a big issue too is that it's cosmic. Yeah. Not cosmic, but I mean, like, it's other worlds. Like, they're like, it's like she has the ability to fly all over the place, right? So when you have that ability, you can tell multiple planetary stories,
Right.
and that wasn't an MCU thing. We knew that only through Thanos at that point in time. Thanos had the
Guardians of the
ability.
Galaxy, Thor, we'd
Correct.
seen different worlds, and
Thor lived in a 9 realm
in a realm, yeah.
area.
But we saw a lot of different
Okay.
planets in
Guardians
Thor's realm, yeah.
Guardians for sure did that, but I think Marvel did it in a way that was just Captain Marvel did it in a way that was just it didn't feel like it was part of the universe.
Captain Marvel is kind of like the Lantern Corps, like the Marvels, like the and it's like the Lantern Corps. Like they exist beyond boundaries of the universe. Like they extend past what you would consider a sector, I guess, or an area. Yeah. So
and it didn't feel like it
sense.
was part of Guardians. It didn't feel like it was part of, Thor. Like, I love the way that they were able to tell multiple stories, doing other world type stories, but it's tough if you don't set a basis. Like if you don't have boundaries, then it seems like you're not playing in the same ball field.
Yeah.
But the other trailer we had wasn't really a trailer as much as it was a behind the scenes thing. That was
which one? You were talking about a different trailer then.
Penguin.
I'm talking about the Penguin. What was it behind the scenes? It was.
It was a making of style trailer.
Really? I got a fully cinematic trailer. The one I looked at, like it was like
it was shots, but really it was shots only in a production style. Like there was no the trailer itself was not laid out in a chronological order of like a beginning, middle, and end. Like here's what you should think about this, here's who this character, here's this.
Okay.
It was really just an introduction to the character of Penguin.
Is that why the trailer said at the beginning in production now?
Yes.
Okay. That makes sense. I don't know. I guess I felt like a lot of it looked pretty good. It felt finished to me, some of the stuff we saw.
But it was clips. It felt like it was clips. It didn't feel like it was it didn't feel like the trailer was trying to tell a story of the Penguin, like how the season was going to unfold. Right. It was definitely just clips of like what they've had and what they were able to edit. And I mean, it really seemed like it was a focus on Colin and all that makeup, they made a big point to show you how the Penguin moved, how he was a badass, I guess. And I mean, I really wasn't feeling much of any of it. I would have just waited for for them to be able to piece together a good theatrical trailer. Right. Because as a sneak peek, this is not high. Like this is very, very low bar sneak peek stuff. And I don't mean that quality wise. I mean that like as more along the lines like why did we need this? Just wait until you could tell me something that was give me a badass trailer. Give me Batman walking away from a wrecked Batmobile and let me see what's happening right now.
You didn't get Batman in the show. Sorry, it ain't happening.
Well, you're gonna get the name Batman.
Yeah, you're the name. You ain't gonna get a silhouette of Batman in the show. I won't guarantee it. That's gonna pull away from the Penguin. I forgot what I was gonna say. I had a point I was gonna say there with what you're talking about, and then you got me into the whole Batman thing. I mean, I don't know. This is something that I don't need, but if it's good, I'll watch it. Type thing. It's always hit or miss doing a Batman universe without Batman. So I want to see how this series ties into the actual movie storyline, because I don't know how big Penguin is going to be in this movie storyline, but if they're headlining a television show with him, I have to imagine he's going to be a big character. I mean, I would almost imagine bigger than any other villain, right? Like he's got to be that guy. He's got to be the Lex Luthor of this universe. The guy that maybe he's not the bad guy in this movie, but is the bad guy in this world.
I feel like this is the seed to grow other bad guys with. Very much in the light of like Gotham kind of was, but Gotham never had like an end game for their bad people, right? It was more like here's where they all started, I can't say that I believe is going to be nothing, because Peacemaker I thought was going to be the worst thing possible, and I laughed my ass off the whole entire time. I had a great story, loved the Peacemaker, loved what John Cena did, loved what Gunn did with all of that. This is literally DC Elseworlds, so I'm not sure what they want to do with it. I feel like they can introduce other characters. I feel like the Penguin is so like third tier Batman problem, just because the reality of bringing something like this type of bad guy to the screen doesn't seem like it has a whole lot of legs underneath it. And I don't mean that. That's not at fault of any actor that portrays a Penguin, or it's just the Penguin story now and how it would traverse to the screen. The only thing I can really say about it is it has a Soprano style feel. Maybe that's what they're trying to get. It's like a mafia vibe out of it. So,
well, I think most people, when they think Penguin in Batman, they think Danny DeVito and they think Penguin from the '66 Batman series.
Him in the little car.
And I get it. Yeah, yeah. And I get it. I totally get it. Comic book wise, that is pretty accurate in a lot of different ways. There are some different comics that portray Penguin to be a little bit more different, and this Batman Matt Reeves series follows closely The Long Halloween, in which this is definitely a better portrayal of the Penguin. It's going to be a good show. This Batman series, is going to be a good series. But I'm not going to lie, man. Like, I haven't gone back and watched the Batman since I saw it in theaters. And I haven't really desired to go back and watch the Batman since I saw it in theaters. It was a good movie. Like, I didn't dislike anything about it. I know I gave it a lot of crap going in about the suit and everything, but I think they did a pretty good job with that. But there's just something about this series, this movie series. It's like, okay, I've seen it. I'm done. Like, it doesn't connect to anything. Like, I know that no matter what happens in the series, it's just what happens in the series, and that's it.
With the Henry Cavill thing at the end of Black Adam, like, I'm like,
well,
we're not.
I agree.
Anywhere
I agree,
and
that made me think that maybe they were going to bring Henry Cavill back. Like, I was like, there's no way you do that. The same thing with Wonder Woman at the end of Shazam. Like, come on, man, what are we doing here? Kill this thing or let it live. That's all there is to it. Kill it or let it live.
She's going to poke at it with a stick for a little bit longer.
It kind of feels like that's what they're doing, Well, okay.
Go get the magnifier glass. Let's try to burn it.
Well, last thing I want to say before we get into shows, unless there's anything else I want to bring up, is I did want to talk about. Did y'all see that Flash TV spot they had recently? I'm not sure when it came out, a couple days ago. Okay, it's a real quick clip, and it gives a silhouette of the moon and the Batwing flying into the moon. You see the perfect symbol. And Batman, then it flips into the Batwing, and Batman's in there with both the Flashes, and he's talking to them about parachutes, and they're like, "Where's yours?" And then you just see Batman dive out of the plane. So it was
parachutes are for pussies.
Kind of what it feels like. Yeah, here's the 2 for you. They're for pussies, and Fly jumps out. It's kind of what it felt like. Look, man, I'm excited to see this Flash movie. I don't need to see any more about it. I saw it today, but just by happenstance. It was short. It was like 15 seconds, and I was like, okay, 15 seconds can't spoil me that bad. So I was going to watch 15 seconds of it, and it didn't really. It was a fun little clip. I'm ready to see this movie. This, of all the movies I know coming out this year, this one is the most pivotal for me. Not because I think it's going to be the best movie I see this year, or necessarily the best movie they put out, like anybody puts out this year, but because it's of what it means for DC going forward. Like, when I come out of the Flash movie, the Flashpoint movie, I want to have a clear direction of where this universe is going. And if I don't,
can't say that's what you're going to get.
If I don't, I'm going to bitch and moan and complain so much on the show. You don't even know.
All right, Ross, let's prepare ourselves.
Let's prepare yourself. Yeah. That's right. Because I just want some closure.
I mean, I get it. I mean, this is it should be a pivotal moment. I just don't want, with the whole marketing of this movie, I don't want it to focus solely on, like Keaton's Batman. That's one thing I've kind of noticed too, that once that came out, everybody's like, oh, it's it, which is great. I mean,
I think that is for marketing. I hope that it is.
Yes. So, because that's probably going to pull a lot of people that are familiar with 89. So, but Greg, I'm like you too. I mean, it's you get these little bits and pieces. Like I said, I was super excited to see Wonder Woman, but I mean, I know in the back of my mind, I'm like, okay, let's just get excited for this moment because that's probably all it is.
Mm-hmm.
So, like you said, let's just kind of let's move forward.
Right.
Well, I'll tell you the biggest question I have for this Flash movie, and it's probably been answered, and I just haven't seen it yet, is Keaton playing an old Bruce Wayne, or is he playing a Thomas Wayne? Because in the Flashpoint movie, it's Thomas Wayne. It's Bruce that dies when he gets shot. It's Thomas that is stricken by that, and Thomas Wayne is the one who's Batman with the red eyes and everything else. So it's a different story. So I wonder, you could do that with this, because I haven't heard him say Bruce yet. I've heard him say Batman,
right?
But I haven't heard him say Bruce. So I wonder if they're going to throw that twist in there. That'd be pretty fun. And then, two, I know that at the end of the Flashpoint comic, Batman kills Reverse Flash. In the comic, he does it with a knife, stabbed him in the back, right through his chest. In the movie, he does it with a bullet, shoots him. So I want to know if they're going to do that in this. That's all I'm going to say. So
how can that be?
For anybody who
Batman
hasn't read that
doesn't
comic
kill.
or seen that movie, but
How could that be? Batman doesn't kill.
Yeah, right. Batman doesn't kill, right? But yeah,
Batman doesn't use guns.
It's going to be interesting. And by the way, for anybody who hasn't seen the Flashpoint animated movie, it follows the comic very closely. There are a few changes. There's a little more details in the comics they don't put in the movie. It's a fantastic comic. It's one of my favorites. And the movie's really, really good too. I'd go check that out. And then just to give you an idea of where this movie might be going. Because like I said, in the book, it's Thomas Wayne, not Bruce Wayne. And the fact that they have an older Batman in there, even though he's not red and has red eyes, that's very plausible. They can just be like, no, this is Thomas Wayne.
I'm with you. I have been under that impression, and I actually thought that after all the hype kind of died down from the Super Bowl trailer. So,
because I haven't heard him say Bruce once, and I may have missed it, but I just haven't heard him say Bruce. I've heard him say Batman a couple times, but not Bruce.
Well,
and they could do
it. The clock is ticking down. It's not too much longer before it comes out.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and start talking about some shows. I got nothing else for trailers, what we've been watching, or news. You want to start with Titans?
Yes. Let's just get that one out of the way.
All right. Sarah, start us off. I'm going to grab a beer. Get us going.
I don't even know what to say about this. I mean, it's because it was, two episode release. There was a little drama in there I could have done without. Because I'm like, just give me my story, okay? Like the first episode was, second episode, all right, this is more than what we're getting into.
Thought the same thing. Thought the same exact thing.
Yeah, because I mean, I know what scene you're probably thinking of. I'm like, really? I don't need this. I don't need this shit right here. I don't need this. I want to see Nightwing, Dick, whatever out there whooping some ass. I want the Raven to get her shit together, figure out what's going on with that. We got Sebastian over here. I'm like, what the fuck is your point? I'm like, it's just, y'all stop beating around the bush. I mean, it's just like, I'm trying to hold on to Titans. I'm really trying to hold on, but there's so much better shit out there. It was really hard for me to really
it all feels
in
in disarray. Like that, what you're describing is exactly what I felt watching it.
And I've never really felt that way about Titans. I mean, really, I could always kind of follow the story. I was like, okay, I get this, but, and God, what's his name? Is it Brandon Thwaites? That played. How swole is this dude gonna get? I'm like, can you get a damn shirt that fits? You look weird. I'm sorry, that's like throwing me off visually.
It is odd. Like all of a sudden, like the pink polo posse just like started rolling out of nowhere, and you're like, what is happening?
Corey
right now?
is like this big around. I'm like, how is she? He's like swelling and she's like shrinking. I'm like, what in the hell is going on here? And where the hell is Dar at? What?
That seems to be the story. I feel like that's the cliffhanger that we left off on. That we don't remember.
I think that's my problem. I didn't listen. I didn't watch the recap. Yeah. And I'm like,
I thought they were going to give a better recap coming back from it. And to be dead honest with you, I didn't even know it was a 2-episode drop until it was like, watch the next episode. I'm like, oh, okay. And that's when I text It was like, hey, there's 2 episodes. Like, watch them both. I, same thing. First one, I felt like the acting was so stale right off the bat. There was something about, they came to a senses 6 hours later, and then like all of a sudden, like Raven feels like like this whole weight's been lifted, and you've got, God, what's his name, Tim, who's just basically sitting there trying to talk to her, and just like Tim's off in La La Land, like,
yeah,
not
sprung.
like.
It's sprung is on. That's what it is,
There's so much in the beginning of like, especially this first episode, where I'm like, this is not a good moment for you guys to drop back into the storyline. Like, what is happening with you right now?
They have to put it out there. Sorry, I'll say it.
And what the hell is up with Superboy over here?
I was just gonna say Connor. Yep,
that is an issue with this.
What's wrong with him?
How did he is stumbling onto clues that are being fed to him, and I don't know if we're supposed to believe that they're being fed to him, but like when they wake up 6 hours later, like in the first 10 minutes of this fucking episode, he's like, oh wait, what's this? And it's like a crack in the floor, and like he punches that shit and he pulls out some sort of fucking safe lockbox. Like, what is happening? Where?
Right.
How did you find this?
Right.
Where did this happen? And
he doesn't have X-ray vision.
There's a love letter in here from the 70s that your dad wrote, and now it pertains to the literal week that you are in right now. What is happening? How are we connecting these dots?
Yeah.
And I'm like, Lex Luthor is not that smart. He is not like time traveling. I've got it all figured out smart. Exactly.
I don't know.
And so that he is not. Don't even. He is not.
I mean, dude, Luthor figured out how to beat Superman. Like he's a pretty smart guy. With
enough time and planning, anyone can figure out how to beat something. What I'm trying to say is, how do you figure out how to send your journal from 1997 to the perfect spot that's going to happen in 2023?
You got to remember, Lex Luthor and Bruce Wayne are the 2 smartest people in this universe. Like, keep that in mind.
If he's so smart, then why did
Batman's the greatest detective, but Lex Luthor is one of the smartest guys in this universe. So,
yeah, then why they're dead?
Huh? Well, he's dead. Yeah, dead. That's true. That's true. He is dead in this series, which I hate that because I like the character playing Lex Luthor. Gave me kind of a John Travolta vibe, Like,
oh, fucking
yeah, I see his face right now.
Can't even do
his name.
Yeah, I actually liked him too.
Yeah, I did too.
But let's before we started this show, Greg, you started mentioning the fact that this gave Doom Patrol vibes, and it totally did. When the RV disappeared, I was like, oh, we're in Doom Patrol.
Being in the city, everything else, yeah, definitely. Them changing their total attire, everything kind of felt a little Doom Patrol-ish to be in this one. I liked it. Don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I felt like when I was going to go watch this that I was like, man, I should really watch at least the last episode before the break in the season. Because Sarah, you were like, you said the other day, oh, Titans comes out in a couple days, and I was like, oh, cool.
I was excited about it.
I was like, a new season of Titans, and I was like, wait a second, it's not a new season. It's the second half of the first season.
That's what I'm saying. It's like it's the rest. I said Titans is back. Titans are back.
Yeah, Titans is back, baby.
Just in my mind, I thought, oh, new season, cool. Totally forgot.
And I was super excited about it, but I was like, apparently I must be in a certain time or like a certain mind frame or whatever, because I'm like, I just don't remember. I don't know. Maybe it'll get better. Get back into it as it progresses, but I guess once you get over that, what the fuck is going on right now, because now that was mentioned a few times. What the fuck was kind of a central phrase throughout this, especially the second episode. And I'm like, you know what? I'm right there with you.
Yep.
And I mean, and I don't want to feel that way because I like Titans typically.
I have been looking for the past, I'd say, month and a half, trying to figure out when it was coming back, and I haven't seen any news about it. And when you sent that text, I was like, where did this come from? Like, why do we not know when it's coming back? Because I feel like there should be an expectation that you build up to get to that point. I didn't feel like there was any of information out there. I've been looking because I want to know how long we have to wait for the second half of Titans and second half of Doom Patrol.
Mm-hmm. I totally forgot Doom Patrol's coming back too.
Yeah, you got that second half also.
I totally forgot
in
about that.
all of my notes, it's season 4 part 1, season 4 part 2 now that this has come back. But it's the final season for both of
I
these.
just stumbled across it. I think I saw something that might have been, I don't know, maybe either Facebook or Instagram. It just had like something pop up and saying, "Oh, new episodes of Titans." I'm like,
it's
like, damn, that's next week.
Yeah, very poor marketing. I went to HBO Max and it didn't even pop up as something for me to watch.
Yes,
I had to search for Titans for it. Like I was like, really? I was like, I watched the first 4 episodes. Like it should be my previously watched stuff. It didn't even pop up to watch.
Max is like, there's other shit you can watch. Don't worry about this one.
It's because they know it's the end of it. They know this is the last season. They're wrapping it up and they're done with the storyline. I guess it would be my mindset.
I think as far as the end of the whole thing is Cause Foully, and that's what the episode title is named. And what it's about is this town that doesn't exist, that it actually exists, and it's very Doom Patrol-esque because it exists in a different plane.
Right.
Why they are able to get there, I'm only assuming is Raven.
That is why, because you had to have somebody who had her blood,
the Trigon blood,
Trigon blood, to be able to enter there. That's why. That's why. What's his name? The other two weren't able to go in there because they weren't in the car with Raven.
Right. Which
they had their own shit going on.
Yeah, they were.
As Raven said,
exactly. You guys got to figure out.
You're getting adjoining rooms.
Your adjoining room plot. Yeah.
We didn't see what was coming there.
I did enjoy the fight scene at the end because I've never seen a fight scene done to Dreamweaver before with that song playing in the background, and I'm like, this works. Like, he's fighting, and the music is supposed to be very not romantic, but like it's supposed to be like a story, like a good story, and like here they are just brawling it out, and he is fighting the sheriffs to Dreamweaver at the end, and all of a sudden he gets put on display for the town, and we figure out that Brother Blood and dare I say Mama Blood, are hanging out front because they are 2 steps ahead of the greatest detective, so the next episode did not feel as out of place since I watched the first one. It didn't feel like there was such a brash jump that you made. It felt extremely evident from the first episode that this radio station was going to be a thing, and when you have 98.6 BLUD blood,
yeah,
be a thing.
I know. Like, turn that shit off.
That was pretty good.
Yeah,
like just give it a minute.
I liked what they did with that. I liked how he was like, Bruce fought Constantine, and like these are things that we should pay attention to. I like how it shows because to me, it's not dependency on Bruce Wayne or Batman. It is, here's what I've learned from, as Greg says, one of the greatest minds of, the DC universe. So I appreciate those little bits. I don't know. The horn. Talk about the horn. What are your guys' view on this horn?
I like the concept of what they're trying to lay down. To be truly honest with you, I like the way that they're using it. The horn, like they have an objective of something to bring Trigon back, which I can't stand. They're going with Trigon again. To be honest with you, they should have just gone. The entire series should have been about Deathstroke being the bad guy, like the main bad guy, or Lex being the main bad guy. This Trigon thing, I'm gonna be interested to see how he looks when he inevitably comes back. I'm hoping better than the first season, so we're gonna see. But the horn thing didn't bother me because, like I said, it gives an objective. Like, this is what we're looking for this, and you're looking for this. And at a certain time, they thought, like at least Dick thought that they thought he was the son of Trigon. He thought that
because that was the prophecy.
It's kind of walked into that. Yeah. I mean, I didn't mind the horn so much. I thought it was pretty cool. It was kind of weird the way it was that they pulled it out of the lava or whatever it was. It's a very, very, very strange scene. I had no idea what was going on there until he pulled the horn out, and I was like, "Oh, okay, I get that now."
I was not a fan of that.
Okay,
I extremely bumped up against that and one other thing in this episode, and I think that because when he stuck his hand in the lava, here's what I'm going to tell you. My mind immediately went to Roger Rabbit, and it's like he's gonna pull out a
Okay.
tune horn because this is like fake lava, and and it looks like he's trying so hard, and he's gonna go into Toon Land and pull out a tune horn. I don't know why I thought that. It was just like it doesn't have any problem with the VFX of it or anything. It was just like it felt so out of place. Like the horn's in here, and only someone that can stick their arm into lava can pull it out. The strongest man in the universe is the only one that can do this.
Right.
And I was just like, come on. Like, is this the trial that it takes to get the horn? Because if so, then wow.
Yeah. No, I get that, and I could see having a problem with that. I'm sorry, Sarah. Go ahead.
No, I mean, go ahead. But within all this happening, it's like just the character of Sebastian himself. I'm like,
I liked him better in this episode than the episodes prior. To be honest, I thought that these 2 episodes were better than anything we saw in the first half of the season. I didn't think these episodes were great, but I thought they were better.
But you know
I feel
what?
like they lack story.
Okay.
It made a lot more sense putting these 2 episodes together, though. Could you imagine seeing one and then waiting the next week to see the other?
No.
I'm getting to the point now with Titans. You need to see everything together. Like, just go ahead and dump it all out. Because right now, it's not going to make
an Umbrella Academy. I hear you. It'll make the whole series better. I agree. So,
Ross, just make it more cohesive.
Yeah. Ross, you talked about the thing that bothered you. I'm going to talk about one thing I had to push back on this that just I saw and it irked the shit out of me. Okay, so they're playing this music, and this music is what's hypnotizing everybody, right? But the I guess the father and the daughter are deaf, right? So they don't hear it. So that's why they're not affected, right? Yep. Well, they're sure damn good lip readers for being deaf. I'll tell you that. And not to
I've never seen people turn their head before.
Exactly.
Be able to read lips.
Exactly. I've never seen somebody looking a different direction and have somebody talking and have the and furthermore, if you're his son and her brother, the boy that helps them break down the barrier, you've got to know they're deaf. Why are you sending a song out as a signal?
He doesn't know they're deaf.
How do you not know your father and your sister?
No, because they were deaf after they went to that place.
Okay.
I thought she was already deaf.
She was like deaf because they knew what the problem was.
How do you make yourself deaf?
I thought he said the dad said that she'd been deaf when she was like 10.
No, they said the story is that they said she was deaf since she was 10. They played it up to that.
Okay.
These are background stories that his was self-inflicted.
Yeah.
How do you self-inflict being deaf?
Well, I mean, if you have a deaf daughter, there's tons of reasons why you could or would.
No. I'm not saying why wouldn't you. How do you do it?
Oh, how do you?
Some things are just better left.
Pierce your eardrums?
Would that make you deaf if you pierce your eardrums? Yeah. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess if that's how you do it, then yeah, that would work. Okay.
So what I bumped up against was the fact that they weren't looking at people and were still able to read their lips. I'm like, she was not even looking at him.
Right.
There's no way
they'd be across
he's
the
like
way.
This.
Yeah.
I know, right? And it's like,
yeah,
you didn't even read the lips. Mm-hmm. So I had a big problem with that. I thought that there was a huge just big storyline that they were just not able to do, because at some points they showed scenes where they were literally looking at each other's lips as someone else was talking, and been like, there's other scenes where they're not even looking in the general direction. I'm like, you can't do that. You can't say that's what it is, because I wouldn't have had a problem with it if they made the vivid motion to look at every person that was talking, but they didn't.
The other thing that bothered me was there's the scenes where, okay, Dix told Corey that, like, Bruce prepared me for this because, like, we were scared this was going to happen one day, so we had to know how to not be mind manipulated, this and that. So record your deepest, darkest secrets, your most emotional things, and that. And Dick starts out and he's like, I was 13 years old. That was when my life changed. And then it cuts that off, and you're like, you're not going to tell me that story? Then later, Corey picks up his recorder, and I'm like, oh yeah, they're going to give me that fucking story. And they don't.
Nope.
I was like, you're kidding me, right? Like, I already knew he loved her. She knows he loves her. I don't want to hear
But
that.
it's-
I want to
it's
hear
the-
from his point of view how he
It's
became
the
Robin.
drama they're selling.
It's the
They're
pearls,
selling it as
man.
drama.
It made me so mad though because I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna hear that story." Then I didn't get to hear the story. I was like, "Come on, man!"
I
Oh.
love the
It's not
fact.
the bad. It's not the bad memories. It's the good memories where you.
Yeah.
I love
And-
the fact that we got the her saying the phrase like, "That's some peak daddy bullshit right there." Because when she said that, I was like, "That truly is like
You're like,
he
yeah.
has some peak daddy bullshit problems, is what he has."
Well, can we talk about Starfire real quick too? And I'm sorry, I gotta say this. Look, I forgot how absolutely beautiful. Is it Diop? Is that her name? Doip? How do you say her last name? Anna Diop? Diop. I'm not sure. I don't even care. I had to
I
readjust
can
my list
butcher
last night.
names horribly.
Like I had to readjust the list. Like seriously, LA face with an Oakland booty right there. Like she is absolutely, and I don't mean that offensively. I'm sorry if it sounded like it. She is absolutely. Just fun to say that line. Absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. I want to see her in more stuff. Not because she's beautiful. She's a great actress too. Like I want to see her. She's beautiful, but she's a great actress. Like I want to see her in more stuff. And I looked up her IMDb. I've only think like 1 or 2 things she's ever been in.
Yeah.
So she's not been in much.
Do a whole lot.
Yeah, but she's a fantastic actress, and like she kills this role. I think that her and the guy who plays Dick are phenomenal in this series as far as acting goes. Everybody else does a good job. They play the roles pretty well, but these two right here, I want to see in more stuff. Both of them play such great roles.
I can't say that I think that she is phenomenal. I like the the Dick Grayson character. You know his name, sir. I like him.
Brandon Thwaites, I think.
Yes. I think that he does a good job portraying what I imagine a Robin on screen would be like, or a Nightwing would look like.
Mm-hmm.
I go back and forth with the Corey character. I like the aloofness when she didn't know what was happening, and now that she's kind of coming into it, it's not her acting. It's the story that she's given to act to, I think, is what I have a problem with, because I don't feel like the story is extremely strong for her. I did like watching her switch between Corey and Carol in this. I had no problem buying either one of them, which is why I feel like the acting is not a problem. It's the story that's a problem. There's just something about and it may be the timeline that they're given, like the amount of story they're able to tell in the time that they're given.
Mm-hmm.
It may be that Titans has been an uphill battle from the word go, live action, and I would love to see Titans thrive, and I feel like they did a good job casting. There's countless movies and TV shows that we've seen that have had great casting. Like I don't know, X-Men. Take X1, 2, and 3, great casting, but like flaws in the overall story that would have helped them truly succeed in a long-term storytelling platform. Yeah. This just has some things. You bring in Sebastian, you bring in Lex right off the bat, you bring in all these different little itty-bitty tidbits that are supposed to be important to the story. We're not going to know what that story is until we reach the end, which I feel like is okay. But when we did last season, we had Scarecrow. I bought that character as Scarecrow. I just hated the story that they gave him.
Yeah.
All the way up
at the end was kind of weird.
Yeah. Like it was, you reach these unnecessary points.
Yeah. No, I get that. And you're right. And I'm kind of upset that Titans is ending right now, because while I've had bad times with Titans, I've had some really good stuff too. Like the costumes on this is great. I was telling my friend the other day, he's never watched an episode of Titans, but he was like, yeah, it sounds like something I'm interested in. And I was like, just watch the opening scene with Robin. Like I can show anybody the opening alleyway scene with Robin and sell you on this show. I'm not going to tell you that most of the second season is not that great. The ending of the second season is not that great.
This episode,
the third season is okay, and the fourth season is kind of like, I'm not going to tell you that, but I'm going to tell you, if you want to watch some good action, some amazing cosplay, and some pretty good characters that fit the roles, this show is really good. They could have done a whole lot better job if they would have not tried to go so fantastical with it. They tried to lean into Raven too much, is what it was. They should have leaned into Nightwing. Period. You should have leaned into Nightwing and that was it. He should have been your main guy that you lean into. You could have told a ton more story, and Deathstroke should have been your big bad. They did that in season, what was it, 2? And season 2 was very good. But don't kill Deathstroke at the end of season 2.
I can buy that if you have. I think what, in my mind, what you're describing right now is that instead of having Dick try to solve these impossible tasks, you put impossible tasks in front of Dick that require everyone else to help him solve them, rather than him help everyone else solve their shit.
Yes, exactly. And don't get me wrong, I want to see the background of Corey and I want to see the background of Gar, but let's be real. We're gonna get to the end of this series in what, 4 episodes? Done with the series. I don't know shit about Gar. I haven't seen a good Gar story yet. I don't know a ton about Superboy. Haven't seen a
Gar
great story.
got the good first half.
Yeah, I mean, okay.
Better than anything else he's had this whole entire show. Let's
I'll give you that. I'll give you that. But I don't know shit about Superboy. I know a little bit about Corey. I know I'm confused about Raven. And I kind of know Nightwing. Like they haven't done a good job fleshing out these characters because they just, I think they focused on the wrong storylines to go with Teen Titans. Like, I mean, they could have done a really good job with this. The only good thing I can see about this series ending now is give me a fucking Nightwing on the big screen.
I'm living for that because
on the big
like
screen.
I said,
I will get rid of him on the TV on the small screen if I can get a good Nightwing on the big screen. And from what I understand,
I prefer a TV show.
No,
Nightwing.
Dude, Nightwing is a badass character, man. He really is. He's like, dude, Nightwing can be as badass as Batman. He really can. And don't get me wrong, Red Hood can too. And the fact that they were, from what I heard, they're talking about starting out the new DC universe, DCU, in the Damian Wayne era, means that we already have a Red Hood and a Nightwing out there if they choose to go that way, which I really, really hope they do, because 2 of the coolest outfits ever, like those 2 guys, and 2 of the most badasses ever. You know,
let's be real honest. You're watching other TV shows, and I'm not gonna segue to them yet, but you're watching other TV shows that are doing great work on the small screen. And imagine what you could get with a TV show that's more focused and less running aloof with all these other multiple storylines that they're trying to put out there. Because if you had a more focused Nightwing story, you could probably be much more invested in it, even if it were what the Writers Guild is going on strike for. If it were only 10 episodes, I still think you get better quality than you would a whole entire movie, and you'd get 10 hours of it versus you know 2.5.
Now I can agree with that. You're right about that. But why can't you have a Nightwing in the DCU that's in the movies and have a television show about him?
Oh, I'm not saying that he can't span both.
Yeah. Like I would say put Nightwing in the movies, not as a main character, not as a guy you have a Nightwing movie. Have him Nightwing in the theaters. And in the DCU. Yeah, and then have
him in that. Yeah. Because look, if what they're doing is what Marvel is doing, and if it truly is, movies, television, like if it's continuity across the board, I want the TV show.
Yeah. You get a lot more out of it.
Give me that character.
Right.
Yeah.
You're right. You get a lot more out of it.
My last few things on this show are that moment at the end where you get, Connor sending Sebastian a drink. 2 of them are going to toast over nothing. I think that the turn of Connor is absolutely ridiculous, and I'm not sold on it. I don't appreciate the fact that, all of a sudden, he thinks he knows who his daddy is, which he's got 2 daddies, so that doesn't make sense. What is happening with his character? Why is it happening? And why do I have to suffer through it? Because, man, do I feel like I am suffering through this.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. Don't like this Connor thing.
I agree. I don't like the character at all. Like it's.
I liked him beforehand.
He's flipped so much. I mean, it's like you had like the Superboy where it's like, oh, I'm so naive. Now it's like, oh, I'm a hard ass. I just know everything. What get more? What
the rest of the letter is for me. Well, it's all for me. Like, it
sucks because it sets up for the inevitable ending where he comes back and makes the turn at the end where he saves everybody because he was probably the reason why they almost died anyway. It's the Vader moment where he looks at the Emperor and looks at Luke and looks at the Emperor and looks at Luke and he's like, okay, fuck it, I'll save Luke. Like it's gonna be that. It's gonna be that moment, And it's like, okay, I get it, but I've seen that moment before, and you really telegraphed this going on. Like I know Superboy's not a bad guy. Now I'll tell you what. You give me a Superman cameo to bitch slap Superboy back into reality, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with him being a little bitch to bring Superman in here to bitch slap him and be like, "Look, motherfucker, you need to chill out.
Talking about some mega daddy issues.
You need to chill out." Yeah.
Peak daddy issues. Yeah, no, I don't think that would happen, but I would appreciate it.
Daddy
I would like
bullshit.
to see. I'd like to see a carryover. Like if they're going to do a transition between, the EU and the U, I would much rather see it happen in real time. I would be okay with it happening in real time, but we're not going to get that. The other thing that I would truly enjoy, I really like the Titan theme music at the opening of the show.
I told my wife, I was like, "This is the best intro ever." Like,
it's short, it's hard rock, it's
love
almost
it.
like it gets like there is something about it that is just truly good, and it holds true to, we all grew up with watching television shows that had long intros, and that extremely dropped off in the streaming era because it's not feasible. You can't watch a long intro every single time. I've rewatched like Big Bang probably 3 times, and shows like that have really long intros, I just can't sit through every single time. Like I can't hit the skip intro button.
I always hit skip intro every time. Yeah, once I've seen it once or twice, I'm good. Yeah,
and so, but there's something about this, so I'm like, I won't skip it. Like I'm fine with it. Like the length of it and
it's
what
like
it is,
seconds.
I'm like, exactly. You're right. Like I'm sitting there the whole time, like fucking Titans.
But it kind of sets up the episode too, because if you watch the letters, it has like those little clips.
The scenes in it. Yep.
See, I'm not gonna lie though, I don't mind a long intro as long as it's done well. Because we grew up with it,
Like Voyager.
It is funny because especially in streaming shows now, like they'll play like 10 minutes of the episode, then play the intro. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like we're 10 minutes into this episode. Why am I playing the intro right now? But that brings me back to like when I watch something with my kids. And like, I don't pay premium for streaming services, so I have commercials. And there'll be a commercial come on. My daughter's like, "Oh my god, commercials, ads!" I'm like,
and they
seriously?
lose their mind.
I'm like, this is your chance to get up, go to the bathroom, get a snack, take a break for a second, and even if you can't, guess what? You've got a phone in front of you. Take 2 minutes off. Like seriously, you can't sit through a commercial. And guess what? I grew up with commercials. That's how you learned about stuff. Commercials was TikTok for me when I was a kid. That's what that was. Commercials was TikTok for me. You would scroll through a commercial and you would find out about stuff.
Not even then, because TikTok
that's
is
why
even
we
slower.
asked our parents to buy us all that stuff because
But it is so funny hearing my daughter get so upset about commercials. I'm like, seriously, it's like you are literally talking about a minute and a half, 2 minutes of your life right here to wait to go back to your streaming, like you streaming a digital image from a satellite in space to your television. Like, relax for a second. Like seriously,
until you realize that there's a perfect amount of time to go use the bathroom. Or to go get snacks and figure out, like, do I want this or do I want this? It's like it's fine because I got a few extra seconds to figure out to make a decision here. That is what they were for. They were perfect for that. My last thing is I love coming back to the last little bit of getting my moment of Greg, move your head. There's something about that last little bit in watching these shows in the Berlanti era of HBO Max, and it's the production company, and at the very end of the credits it says Greg, move your head, and I'm like, I know Greg. He needs to move his head.
Always. Yeah, I like the Berlanti verse, man. It's had its ups, it's had its downs. I'm ready to see where it goes in the future. We never got our Green Lantern show.
No.
Whatever. Cool. Tease me with Diggle. I don't care. Flash is coming to an end. Every DC TV show is coming to an end, right? Like they're stopping all this stuff.
They're all
right?
done.
Yeah, they're all done this season. So
rebooting the universe.
Get ready, complete reboot, DC fans. This is the way it's going to go. So I hope they do a good job. The slate coming up looks pretty good. There's not much I can do about it if I don't like it. So I'm just going to sit back and try to enjoy it. They're going to give me some good content. It just sucks because for me, the bar has been set so high. you got to beat Man of Steel, you got to beat BVS. Like, and maybe they won't, but guess what? Those two always exist for me to go back and watch them. So they're always there. Nobody can take those away from me ever. So,
well, you think about it, if you were a kid right now, like it would be no different than it was when we were kids and like
Agreed.
growing up, and like you'd have multiple versions of multiple things, and they keep trying to do it until it comes out with a thing that like connects with you. So
it would be slightly different because a kid right now can go back and watch the 25 different variations of this character beforehand.
Very true. Yeah.
When you and I were kids, we had
2.
Yeah, that was it. That was it. I mean, don't get me wrong, like we love that kind of stuff, but times have changed so much for kids now, and it's a beautiful thing. Like I said, I'm to the point now where I can watch something and it's like, well, if I don't like that, I don't have to watch it, and I can watch what I like. Food, drinks, movies, television, everything. Don't like it, just don't do it. That's the easiest way to deal with it, and I love that we're in a world we can do that with now. So
there was I always go back to this moment where it's what's the Chad guy's name that sang the theme song for Spider-Man, where it's like, if a hero could save us, you know what I'm talking about. Like, if a hero could save us, then
is that the Nickelback song, Hero?
Yeah.
Okay.
From like the
second Spider-Man, I think
you could say OG Spider-Man trilogy, but yeah,
you gotta take a shower real quick.
There is something about that I'm just like, you know what? Like, it was good when it came out, but I will be damned. Like right now, like if I wouldn't prefer other things over it 10 times fold.
Really?
It has nostalgia for me, but it doesn't have the connectivity to the rest of it. Okay. I've talked countless times and said the 2 words connective tissue countless times on the show just because I love that. And that's what I love about this Marvel's trailer that came out. That's what I love about watching countless things like we're going to transition into this next show. I love the connective tissue. Mm-hmm. And when you're able to bring that, it makes things 10 times better. Titans doesn't do that for me with DCU or DCEU. Like, I wanted it to. It has the ability to. It has the actors that can do it. It has all sorts of things, but it just doesn't do it for me.
All right. No, you're right.
So
that's very well put. Yeah.
To transition into this next show,
they do.
We move into the Mando Star Wars universe, the Mando television cinematic universe. You just get that. Mm-hmm. There's just something there that I feel like how do I say this properly? I feel like what Titans does wrong, Mando does right for the universe. And I say that in the manner of Mando doesn't need the actors. It has them. Mando doesn't need the story. It just creates it. But Mando pulls it off in a way that makes me feel like I am a fucking kid sitting there in my living room watching this for the very first time, ecstatic to all shit, like just happy to no end because of what is being put on the screen.
I wish y'all could have had a video feed to me last night when I was about 3 whiskeys in and I finished Mandalorian and I was so excited that I sent that message. I was like, have y'all seen Mandalorian yet? Because I had to talk to somebody about it. Okay. Yeah. So I'll go ahead and preface this right now. Beyond one thing in this episode that didn't really bother me that much, but it was like, okay, I can point this out as something I didn't like that. Like, great. This might be the best episode of Mandalorian for me that I've ever seen. Including the finale of last season. Yeah. Like it's right there. Like when I got done watching this episode, I was so fucking excited from what I had seen and where they're going to go with the last episode. They blew me away. I'm almost kind of upset because I feel like they can't top this with the finale. Like, I don't know how they're going to top this penultimate with the finale because this penultimate, and honestly, I'm going to say the same thing about Picard here in a little bit. This penultimate was so good.
This is not a penultimate.
It is. Next week's last episode, isn't it?
I thought there were 10.
Isn't this 9?
That was 7.
That was 7? Oh. Well, that's even better that it wasn't even a penultimate. Okay, well, cool. I thought it was
you get 3 more episodes, man.
Well, I got to rename the episode then because I said 2 penultimates. But I thought it was penultimate. I thought that we had 2 episodes left. But either way, this may be the best episode of Mando I've seen, minus maybe the finale of last season. And I got to go back and watch the finale of last season. I think the only thing that makes that better is the fact that Luke Skywalker's in it. You know, beyond that, this may be a better episode. I am loving, and I'm eating a ton of crow right now because I was saying 4 weeks ago how I was kind of falling off Mando. It was kind of bothering me. And the second I said that, it started taking off. Okay. This show is phenomenal. I am loving where they're going with this. And this Mandalorian storyline is fantastic. I will watch Mandalorians fight stormtroopers all day long. All effing day long, because that is an amazing amount of costumes to be in. And it brings me to one of my favorite timelines, the Revan book, which is heavy on Mandalorian, like Mandalorian lore and Mandalorians being in there. So like, this is an awesome story. And I love that it's tying into the Ahsoka series. And we get those little seeds here. So before I go way too far into dropping this down, Sarah, what did you think about this episode of Mando? Because I know you're a huge Bo-Katan fan, obviously.
I just want to preface by saying this is the penultimate. There are 8 episodes.
Oh,
there are only 8.
I don't feel so stupid.
Okay, he's right.
I thought it was. I wasn't sure. So okay, cool.
That's why it's so hard to watch these, because they're so damn good, and it's like the stories you're just like, how is this going to wrap up?
Only
You know,
one more?
Mhm.
Oh,
It is
I
very
know.
rare that Ross is wrong and I am right. So I'm gonna celebrate that one.
do it.
I know, I had to look it up real quick. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh,
I'm not
but-
sure. I
Just
went
let
off of like
Yay.
I went off of like original knowledge that I had. So
Yeah, I mean, and typically it is. I mean, it is what it is. Oh, that's cute. Thanks. I'll talk to you in a minute.
Okay.
And but yeah, I mean, being with Bo-Katan, being introduced to her in the Clone Wars and just kind of seeing her story unfold, I'm really glad that this season of The Mandalorian, it's not just The Mandalorian. It should be like called Mandalorians, because it's covering a lot of story. I don't know. I'm loving it. I mean, Greg, I mean, this episode was just kind of blew me away, because you're like, oh shit, you're getting some stakes in here now. You're like, oh, and the fact that you're really seeing more of like the Mandalorian story unfold, and you're actually seeing them in action. It's just like, the other episode where Bo-Katan, went to, was it Axe Wolves, and was like, I'm taking my shit back. He's like, the hell you are? She's like, watch me. And I mean, lady went, she showed him. So, it's just great seeing the strength of the Mandalorians. And especially with this episode, you're getting more of a background story. There's like some little seeds that are planted, like, what's actually going on. It's because honestly, I'm not that well versed in the actual, lore of the Mandalorians, as far as like, the Night Watch, Night Owls, Death Watch, all this kind of shit. I don't know the different factions. So I'm kind of learning as we go. And now, you're learning these factions, and now you're trying to bring everything together. And as we see, there's some shady shit going on too. So it's like
Shit got dark real quick.
Yeah, it kind of took a turn where it was one of those, I didn't know about it. I wasn't expecting that. So I'm seeing this. I'm like, oh, what? And I probably haven't connected the dots on a few things, because now that I think about it in retrospect, I think there's some other shady shit going on. And I, especially one of my favorite characters, I'm like, I'm hoping that's not the case, but we're starting to see, a few things unfold. So I don't know. It's been a wild ride thus far. It's for me, it's been just a total learning experience in the whole Star Wars lore, especially with the Mandalorians. And I think I don't know, it's pretty wild. I mean, and then like I said, especially going to Ahsoka, because I got a buddy of mine. I've told him I was like, you haven't seen Rebels, but it's kind of like with you, Greg. See, because he's watching Mandalorian. So there's a lot of stuff that's happened in Mandalorian, especially this episode. I'm like, dude, you have got to watch Rebels before you watch Ahsoka. If not, shit's not going to make sense.
I 100% agree. If you have not watched Rebels before you watch Ahsoka, you're robbing yourself of a ton of great detail.
And it's that connective tissue. That's what
Yep.
I love that too.
You were robbing yourself of that. I'm telling you, after watching Rebels, the end of or the Ahsoka cameo at the end of last season meant so much more to me.
Mm-hmm.
So much more to me because I know now. I know what the fuck she's talking about. I got you. I know where she's going.
I know it's easily confused, but that was Book of Boba Fett, wasn't it? When she was fighting.
Was it? Okay.
With the spear.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I feel like let me be very clear prefacing this. I don't want to take anything away from what the Mandalorians are, but I feel like what they're trying to portray takes away from, in my mind, the strength of the Mandalorians, because they're trying to show that, like the fact that they're all scattered and the fact that they are very much back to their own tribes, as if that's a big thing, is a problem. And I don't feel like that's a problem because
they're
when
so
you
divided.
And even though they are so divisive, I don't think that is a very big issue, because I feel like Mando does what I think I'm describing right here, and he does that moment where he has that one sidebar with Bo, and he says, like to me, you're the one, and if I say that, then that means that you have my honor, my respect, and my everything that is going to come with that. This is what I'm giving you right now. And I feel like that is a massive difference versus what the division of all Mandalorians could actually be. To whereas, they could just all fight and have an infinite civil war between each other because they're trying to figure out who's more powerful and who's in charge and who's the armorer of their own camp and who does this and who does that. Mando does that moment. Mando portrays that moment in that scene where he's like, hey, look, you're the one that I believe. You're the one that held true power. You're the one that told a story that I didn't know. And now that I know it, it's helping me understand what all Mandalorians kind of went through. And you tried to sacrifice what you had to help them all survive. Now we're here because you got double crossed, and I'm going to do nothing but back you. There's almost that, I don't want to say it's a military mindset, but it's like
it is, though. It's exactly what it is. You're right.
It is, right?
It's exactly what it is. Yes. That's what it's going to compare to. Yeah.
That mentality of
you've earned my respect.
Yeah.
Now you're the one. Yeah.
Now you're the one I'm going to follow, and we are going to back you 100%. And, until that moment comes where you cast shade on whatever it is that we believe, we are with you. We're there, and we're going to be there nonstop. I got that in Rebels. I got that in Clone Wars with all of the different Death Watch scenarios that they try to portray. And it's nice to see now that it's nice to see it now in live action. I think is probably the best way to say it.
Yeah.
Actually, I just kind of want to take this episode right off the bat. We saw a Coruscant from the top, and I've heard this said, but this is what I wrote down from the beginning, and it was total Blade Runner vibes. There was nothing but that vibe for me right off the bat, because I'm like, there's rain, it's all neon lights. That's what I get from this scene, and it fits perfect. The bad woman. Oh, we get a probe droid that is talking to the converted chick. She said a TK number. I can't remember what it was, but she had her own TK number, and she's going to talk to Moff Gideon. And on the backside of that whole entire conversation, Moff Gideon is walking through how many different versions of ray shields. To come out like he's in such a safe place right now, physically.
Oh yeah,
that it's not a problem for him. he has all of these what appeared to be First Order. I think I call them mega droids, but I mean, like, I don't know what he's actually having right now. And then they drop the big Grand Admiral Thrawn reference in the Shadow Council.
And that's what I want to bring up too, is the Shadow Council. I hope so bad that Moff Gideon survives this season and they make him a big part of the Thrawn or of the Ahsoka series, because I feel like Thrawn's going to be a big part of that.
At least a small part.
I hope that Thrawn kills this guy.
Well, see, that's the thing.
Like, I want to see Thrawn kill this guy, and like in a Thrawn kind of way. Go ahead, Sarah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what was so interesting, because, I wasn't expecting to see, Moff Gideon, because that was thought it was like, well, damn. It's like I knew eventually, but I didn't think they would go ahead and throw him in there. And I mean, and it's like he hadn't even skipped a beat. I mean, he's like, I'm right in the middle of everything. Even in this council, he's like, oh, where's your Thrawn at? You waiting for him? Where's he? I don't see him anywhere. I'm thinking, oh, damn, you're going to sit here and just call it. Oh, and right then and there, I was like, oh, I said, the gauntlet has been thrown down.
You just signed your death warrant, sir.
I'm like, dude.
I know Thrawn.
And see, and that's the thing about it, too. And that's why, even with the Ahsoka, I know why they did, but I really wish they had not announced Thrawn. I mean, that would have been something to just kind of throw. I mean, but like I said, I understand why. I mean, it was a big thing, blah, blah, blah. But when you're laying, you're planting the seeds for this, you're like, oh, you're finally talking, because, Ahsoka's looking for him. Now you got Moff Gideon calling him out, because apparently he was supposed to, everybody's waiting for him. So, you're kind of, throwing all this.
Someone else in that room too.
So you're throwing all this stuff out there, and I'm thinking, oh my God. So it was wild. It was wild. I was like, there was a lot of muscle flexing, and I can't wait to see how this turns out.
Oh, I agree. And I think honestly, beyond the Ahsoka, were like, bring me Grand Admiral Thrawn. That was the first time we've heard a Thrawn name drop, right?
Yeah, and like live action, yeah.
So like, you're right. That would have been cool to have that been the first drop. Even though I did like the Ahsoka one, that was a great way to end that series there, because it let me know, okay, cool. And once again, if you've watched Rebels, okay, we're stopping right here. We're going right where it's going there. So, but yeah, you're right. That would have been a cool little scene there. Ross, talk about this. White Chocolate Espresso says it right here.
So, all right. Let me talk about who was in the room. And who was in the room was Brandel.
Okay.
And I don't know if you know who Brandel is.
I don't.
He is the father of the Hux that we know from the sequel trilogy.
Oh.
Didn't he say Hux?
Yeah.
I heard the name Hux, and I'm
I think it was thrown in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't hear that.
And Brandel was a much better strategist than his late son was. So clearly, there's just something about Hux in the sequel trilogy. I like the actor. I do. I don't like how that whole relationship was portrayed between Kylo and him. It just did not work out very well.
Yeah.
But you can't deny the fact that it is some of the strongest sequel trilogy vision that we like stuff that we've experienced visually. Like those visuals are hardcore, and they have traversed not just the sequel trilogy. They ended up in, oh my lord, what was the animated show name that sucked really bad, but it had Kaz as the pilot.
Oh yeah, mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
All of these scenes have been in different things, and when you have General Hux giving that speech in, it is the episode 7, right? I think he's giving that speech before they blow up Helion Prime. There's just something about it, and so Brendel, his father, is in this scene in the Shadow Council, and you get that moment where it's just, you're putting these pieces together, And the fact that you have to spend this time in your own head putting this mental puzzle together, it's helping. It's helping because you know bits and pieces of it all. And even though they name drop Thrawn, there's no better reference to Thrawn than the Ahsoka trailer, in my opinion. When they drop the words "heir to the Empire," like it's, dude, like it's fantastic. Like it's what I have lived for since the '90s, and I secretly only hope that they're able to do something with the Mara Jade character that I'm probably never going to get. There, I'll send you guys a picture later, but it's a Mara Jade cosplay, and I think it's absolutely perfect. But with Thrawn, I want to know what's going to happen right here, right now, because are they saying that they know where Thrawn is at, and are they saying that they are in front of or behind the Ahsoka story that's going to happen? I need to know these things.
And just for those who don't know, Heir to the Empire is the first Thrawn book.
Yeah.
So when they drop that name for anybody who's read these books, that's a huge drop. That's a huge
Heir to the
drop right
Empire
there.
trilogy, I think is what it's known as.
Yeah, okay, you're right.
The Thrawn
Empire is the name of the
original,
trilogy.
the OG Thrawn trilogy.
So I think the first book is actually titled Heir to the Empire, and the entire series is Heir to the Empire. But I think the second, third book have different names, but it's of the Heir to the Empire series. So
they all have of the Empire in them.
But when you drop that Heir to the Empire of the Empire, like you said, that's it right there. So Jetpack Laser Penis has joined us and said Bazinga. I don't know what that means, but
you know what
crazy
Bazinga
name
means.
I know what Bazinga means, but crazy name. Real quick, White Chocolate Espresso says he thinks the armor sold them out.
I'm not off of that as a possibility. I do think that there are multiple scenarios that we have in front of us right now that could be a possibility. She definitely chose to fly the plane out, or fly the is it the Marauder?
She flew all the injured ones back to the space station, whatever it was.
So that is definitely a possibility. But
I hope not.
I hope not.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that till he said it, and I was like, "Oh, no, please, come on."
Not her.
Right.
No.
And then J Stubbs told me earlier in a DM from Twitter, he said he thinks that Din is dead. That they're going to kill Din Djarin. And I was like, I like the off the wall mindset, but there's no way you kill Din Djarin. Right?
I think that would have to come in the Filoni movie. If you're going to do it, you do it at the peak.
That would have to be
that would be.
But at this moment, there's no way you kill him, right? Like you can't have the Mandalorian show without the Mandalorian. I get we got a lot of Mandalorians now, but
he's got to be the glue somehow.
He's got to be that guy. Yeah. So I don't know about that. What I do like about this show is it does have stakes. It definitely has stakes. And Ross, you got spoiled on the show. But me personally, I have two more things to talk about. I'm bringing one up right now. You got spoiled, Ross, and I had to think in my mind, he got spoiled on this or got spoiled on this. And you got spoiled on the Paz stuff.
And it wasn't me.
And it wasn't Sarah. It wasn't Sarah. That's right.
You go, girl.
What do you think, man? Like, okay, so full spoilers. You know, Paz Vizsla dies at the end of this episode.
Yeah, he went out in a blaze of glory, dude.
He went out like a fucking G.
Yes.
That's right. He went out. If I had a choice to die, it's always trying to save somebody. That would be, if I could choose how I was going to die, it's saving somebody else's life. This is my death right here. This is the way I would want to go out. The way he went out, and it was badass. Absolutely badass. I feel bad because I really like this character. I didn't at first, but through the last few episodes, I've really grown to love him, and I think that's what they wanted you to do, is grow to love this character, so you feel the loss whenever he's dead. But man, what a scene! What a great effing scene, man! And I love that the killing blow is that knife through the trap, you know, straight into the heart.
But aren't those the
Praetorian guards?
Yeah, that's the ones that
were in episode 8.
No, because in the I'm trying to remember. I can't remember shit because whatever.
Episode 8, The Last Jedi. Whenever they were fighting,
throne room
whenever
scene
he
with
killed
Snoke, right?
Snoke,
Yeah.
all the Praetorian guards came out that
Yeah.
were stopping the two of them from moving on. And so the Praetorian guards were a unit. I think Snoke had 8 of them,
Mm-hmm.
and Gideon requested 3 of them.
Exactly. That's what I was getting. Yeah, that's what I was getting
Yeah.
at.
It was a pretty damn cool scene. I'm not gonna lie. Like that for me was like the moment where, because that's right at the end too, and I was like, "Oh, I'm so effing amped right here!" Like I saw somebody I love die for a good reason. Like, oh my gosh, it was so great. So I love the Paz Vizsla scene, and then the
You
scene,
know
the
who
other scene,
originally voiced Vizsla, right?
I don't.
All right, so back in Clone Wars, I believe the Vizslas were originally voiced by Jon Favreau,
I believe so. Yeah.
Really?
who
Okay.
runs the series.
Yeah.
And I say runs it with Dave Filoni, but he runs the series.
Yeah. He pretty much started this universe. Dave Filoni is a guy who's definitely in the background and has, you know, legs in the industry.
If you didn't watch any
Star
information
Wars.
from Star Wars Celebration, Dave Filoni is definitely riding the wave with Jon Favreau.
Yeah. 100%.
And that's been pretty apparent for like the past 3 to 4 years, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, Rick is doing a great job making these episodes. You get Bryce in a couple of them. Rick is pretty much heading them up. This episode alone, I mean, yeah, we can go off of where we're at. Yeah, Paz dies at the very end, and there's a whole lot of, I mean, we're talking Dark Trooper, we're talking jet packing, we're talking
Stormtrooper Mandalorians, basically.
Well,
you know,
Gideon's got his own Beskar suit.
Beskar Stormtrooper
With the helmet
suit.
and
This is
shit,
actually
too.
what he
Stormtroopers, yeah, that's a better way to say it.
It's him. He should be the only one that has that. I don't think anyone else has that. I think that is extremely. I feel like as a Star Wars fan, from the clues that I've been given, he is the only one that has that.
Mm-hmm.
The other ones have been modeled after him, but are not Beskar.
They were definitely blocking blaster bolts.
I know, but I don't think that. For some reason, I don't think that's what they are.
It could. I mean, they did say in this episode though, they were like they have Beskar armor.
All of the dark troopers under his command, because that's a lot of them.
Well, I know when the Dark Troopers attacked, that was what Bo-Katan said. She was like, they have Beskar armor. So
maybe that's got a little bit of like Beskar plating somewhere, not like the whole. They're not shiny like Den.
Yeah. Bling bling.
Well, the
there
other
is
thing,
something we have not talked about. The past thing was the thing that I got spoiled on, but I did not get spoiled on the other part, which is what I believe you thought I was on, and that was the Grogu suit.
Yes, I did not know that
First
Disney
off,
bought rights to TMNT. I did not know
IG-89.
Yeah. Like I did not know Kang was going to make it, or Krang was going to make an experience.
I said,
episode. Yeah,
and I said to you in the text, I was like, that was one of the things that I described. It was either Kang, because I put these both down in my notes. It was Kang and it was Megazord.
I get way more
Krang
than Megazord. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, look, I'm still of the notion that you could do this show without Grogu. I think that Grogu should have been gone after the second season. He should have gone with Luke.
Mm-hmm.
You could still have him in episodes, but him not be the hindrance of every episode. They simply did this so that way he wouldn't be floating around his little thing. And I think they realized that he's not going to really look good doing his own fighting. So we've got to give him something to be able to look like he can defend himself. The problem is, part of the reason that a assault droid is so amazing is because it's a fucking computer. Like, and I get it, he's got the Force, so he can probably move fast too, but he's not fully attuned with the Force. Like I would think that a computer would be able to process anything faster than he can at this moment in his life. So it just didn't make sense to me. I didn't hate it, but I'm
Well, he's like a mech suit.
I'm tired of Grogu, to be honest with you. I'm really tired of Grogu. I'm so past Grogu in these stories that I want to see what's going on with the Mandalorians. I want to see what's going on with the Empire. It's cool that Grogu exists. Protect him and let him survive and be a story later when he grows up and he can talk and fight for himself and everything else. But right now, I'm just done with Grogu, man. And this whole suit thing is like, they're just continuing the story, and I get it. They got a lot of people on this show because of cute Baby Yoda. Like they did. A lot of people were like, "Oh, Baby Yoda, I'm gonna watch this show." Cool, but I'm ready to be rid of. I'm ready to be done with it. You know, I'm ready for Grogu to either be a badass, talk, fight, do everything else, or just kind of sit back and stay in the temple.
Well, I'm just ready for him to to progress. I need some progression.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and that's what I'm saying with his species, that he can only progress so fast because he lives for freaking ever.
Yeah, but you got to think about it. If he's 50 years old and they live to be 800, then technically he's like 16, 17?
I think 900, which, look, at the big scheme of things, a century is a century, but when you talk about centuries,
exactly,
that's a big thing.
Well, if he's 50 and 900 is his lifespan, then he's, what, 2, then times 9. So he's an 18th of his way through his life. So an 18th of the way through a human's life is about 16, 17?
No, an 18th? Are you kidding me?
Most humans live to be in their 80s, so it's pretty close. Okay, 12, 13 then?
10.
He's still a youngin'.
He's a youngin'. Okay, I get it.
I mean, 100%. Still a youngin'.
I guess for me, Grogu is the least intriguing thing of this show. I couldn't care less about what's going on with him unless you give me some storyline. Like,
to be fair, I appreciate that. I appreciate the fact that he's the least intriguing part of this show because he is the most powerful part of this show. I think when you take that off the table, it helps to tell a different kind of story. Like, it helps to say, look, we're not all about the Force here. We're trying to figure out what's going on with all these other people. And, you know, like, let's give a little bit of credence to the 99%, right? So,
sure. Yeah, like I said, I'm just ready to be done. Either give me good story with Grogu, or let me be done with him, because I'm ready to see a Mandalorian story in The Mandalorian, not The Mandalorian and Baby. You know?
Yes.
yes, exactly. But I don't know. Once again, they're still making me eat crow because I was falling off this show about 4 episodes ago, and since then it has completely taken off. Thank you, Dave Filoni. Thank you, Favreau. I know y'all are watching, y'all are listening. I appreciate you catering to my needs. Thank you so much. Because I know that they are
such a
subscribing to this
needy
show.
bitch.
They are 2 of the 4 downloads for this show. I guarantee it every week.
Yeah.
So, I think what's his name? Who's I messed that up because I couldn't remember the guy who Foggy. I think Foggy's the other one. Yeah.
Kevin Feige.
Yeah. So all right. Anything else to say about Mando?
I love when they made it to the planet and like no one was like, "We home, y'all." You know, like they're like, "We finally made it back," because I feel like that would be such a massive thing. I felt that it was very weird to have the ship show up. However, on the flip side of that, I do think that it was cool that Mandalorians were still able to prevail after the purge.
Mm-hmm.
There seems to be a whole bunch of talk about the division between the Mandalorians, and I feel like that seems to be a major flaw with what the story truly is. And even there is massive stories about how there are so many different types of Mandalorians and houses of Mandalorians and names of Mandalorians. They're all Mandalorians, and I feel like that combats like that beats up against the story of how we are all one, but we're not. Like, you know, we're divided, but we are all one. Like, I keep going back and forth with that.
Well, it's the schools of thought. I mean, like I said, you've got the ones where on one hand you don't remove the helmet, other hand you can remove the helmet.
Yeah.
Either way, you're still, you're still walking the same path.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, I think that's what's hard for me to kind of. It's almost like a religious type viewpoint. You have some, like I said, oh well, to be Mandalorian, you cannot remove your helmet. If you do, you need to redeem yourself in the waters of Mandalore. What? I mean, okay. And then you have the other ones that's like, we're doing just fine. We're still who we are. We still have our identity, but we take our damn helmets off. I mean,
yeah. And I feel like they have to address that, right? Like they have to. There has to be a reason and a why that they address that, because if not, then we are beaten up against a dead tree here, and it's pointless. So, I like when Paz went out. They made the rifle glow because he was shooting so much. Shit gets hot, and the guns, blah blah blah.
Yeah,
that happens.
Does.
I love seeing the re-emergence of the Praetorian Guards. I love bringing them back. I love giving them a purpose. I love seeing that they're still badass. I didn't quite understand. I can't say that I knew Paz was wearing 100% Beskar armor, but if he was, then I don't feel like those weapons should have protruded it. However,
well, they make it a point in this episode specifically, to show like people killing people by hitting the weak points in armor.
Right.
Like there are specific events where you see Mandalorian shoot somebody right in the neck where there's no armor, where they shoot them in between the plates on their sides. So like they made it very predominant that these guys are vulnerable if you know where to hit them. And I feel like those blades went in between. Like I said, I feel like the last shot, the kill shot for Paz, was through the trap in the shoulder where there's no blade and into his heart. And that was what killed him. Like if you look at
it. And we were definitely taught that these foundlings didn't all have Beskar armor.
Full sets of armor, yeah. Beskar or full sets of armor, yeah.
Yeah.
No.
So whatever they were wearing was not all Beskar as much as it was just in tribute of Mandalorian.
Isn't that something we kind of learned in like the very first season of Mandalorian?
Yes.
Because that's when
he
would
was repairing his
it was just kind of like replacing pieces with the Beskar. So
my last thing and only thing I have left is I want Disney Plus to stop recommending things that I've already watched.
Yeah,
when I'm done watching episodes, because I've seen all of Andor and loved it completely. I don't need to see it or need to be recommended to see it when I'm done watching Mandalorian.
I'll tell you something. It's not just Disney Plus, because me and Ashley watched Fight Club the other day, which, by the way, one of my all-time favorite movies. I love Fight Club so much. Ashley's never seen it. I've been married to this woman for 15 years and didn't know she's never seen this movie all the way through, right?
His name was
right. So we're watching it. We're going all the way through. Then we go off to make dinner. We come back, and for some reason, it started playing again. I guess it recommended it for us again, which is cool with me. I love this movie. It started playing again, and I was talking to Ashley, and I was like, how crazy is it when you watch movies like this for the first time and you don't realize the twist at the end, but then when you go back and watch it, you see it's put right in front of your face so many times, and you can't believe you didn't see it the first time. She was like
a Sixth Sense.
And then Ashley tells me,
"Oh yeah,
that's what I use. The Sixth Sense, exact example." Ashley tells me, "What twist are you talking about?" I said, "Wait a second." I said, "What do you mean?" She was like, "Well, I've never seen this movie all the way through, and I wasn't
twist
really
with the line, bitch.
I wasn't really paying attention earlier." I said, "Nope." I said, "Turn it back on." I was like, "Continue watching."
Like, no,
we
watching it now.
I was like, "You need to see this twist." She was like, "What are you talking about, twist?" And I was like, "Keep watching, you'll see it." Which, by the way, if you haven't seen Fight Club, which I'm sure anybody listening to this has seen it, seriously, go. You're robbing yourself of a fantastic movie. Go see Fight Club. But yeah, it is funny seeing something like that. Like I said, they recommend stuff, and then they will automatically start playing stuff that you literally just watched. Like it started playing Fight Club over again, which is cool because I love that movie. I'll watch it twice in a row. I don't care. But it was crazy. Let's see. White Chocolate Espresso says watched Jerry Maguire last night. I have to say probably or I'm assuming it's top 5 movie of the
yeah.
90s. Jerry Maguire was good. I grew up in the 90s. I can't say top 5 movie of the 90s. That was a good movie, but I can't put it in my top 5. But everybody has their thing. You know, it was a good movie.
A pretty big movie for
It was
the
a good
90s.
movie.
I will agree with him.
You know
Like,
what?
I mean,
we should
beyond the
actually
show
make a
me
list.
money.
You know what, fellas? I have
Oh.
not seen it.
You've never seen Jerry Maguire?
Because it never appealed to me.
It's a good movie.
No,
It's a good
I'm
movie.
not knocking it because there's probably a lot of
Yeah,
stuff
it's a good
that,
movie.
you know, just at that point in time, I mean, there was just other stuff that.
I get that. That's a good question, though. We should all go back from 1990 to 1999.
Oh, God.
Let's make a top 10 list of movies that we saw in those lives. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now,
This is the
a lot of them
eye
are going to be comedies.
He's
It's going to be Happy Gilmore's and Tommy
sending
Boys and
homework.
Coneheads and all that good
Yeah,
stuff. for
you
me.
boys will. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Let a female have her say too, because it's not all Adam Sandler shit. Okay,
Right.
it's not all the you know the SNL from the 90s. No,
girls weren't into Coneheads. What?
I didn't say I didn't like Coneheads. I'm not saying it's up in my top
I'm
tier
joking.
movies though.
I agree. That would be an interesting project.
If
right
I was
there,
a
if we
human
think about
looking
that.
butt plug, I don't know what I would do with my life. So
God,
All right, let's break into this last show here. We saved the best for last, and honestly, I've loved the 2 shows I've watched this week. But before this, but Picard once again comes in as the number 1 show for me this week, and I'm gonna go ahead and put it out there right now that I've been saying for the last, I don't know, probably 6-7 weeks. The show's as long as the show's been going on, that Picard is going to die at the end of the series. That's going to be his swan song. He's going to sacrifice himself for the good of humanity, and that is going to be the way they write him out. I am drawing back on that now. Do you know why? Because everybody's going to die. Everybody on that ship, on the Enterprise D, is going to die.
you shut
Sacrifice.
the fuck up, sir. You shut
I'm
the
telling
fuck
you,
up right
Thank
now.
you.
They are all
Shut
going
the
to
fuck
die,
up right
Shut your
now.
face.
sacrificing themselves to save Starfleet.
You
know
haven't
it's
watched
hap-
enough
you know
Star
it's
Trek
happening.
to really say
You-
that.
you know
and
it's
say
happening.
that feeling
No,
like you don't have
You
feelings
know it
with
is
that.
happening. They are all
you know how many times
going
Data
to die.
sacrificed himself, and where's he at right now?
Nope, they're all going to die. I'm telling you. We'll see what happens. We got 1 episode left, but I'll let y'all take it over,
But
Sarah.
that's my
Take it over
question. How are they going to wrap this up in 1 episode?
because they're all going to die. That's why.
Greg,
They're
shut
all
your face. I'm going to hurt
themselves.
you.
They're going to
Let
drive
me-
the
let me-
Enterprise into whatever they have to destroy
Let
to
me
kill.
re-preface
you know,
all of this right now. Sarah, how do you feel about getting that D back in your life?
That could be taken inappropriately.
was-
I need to write that down.
That was a little
Very good
earth shattering,
movie.
to say the least.
I want. I only want to say this about the ships, and then I'll let you go full spiel. They recreated the Enterprise D, and they did it in a way that I didn't think could be topped. But when I first saw the Enterprise F, I'm like, we're here. Like, we are in the next age of Star Trek. We are
Even
in
Worf
a
says
place
that.
that I am
Yeah.
happy with.
Yeah.
He does.
He does.
And I'm
yeah.
like, when that Enterprise F rolls out of that station, I am
Those lines, I mean, just sleek. I mean,
yes.
ugh.
I'll tell you, though,
There's something about it like that girl's got curves and they're doing things, and I'm happy about
face
it.
with an open booty. I'm telling you. That's right. That's what it
And
is
so
right
when
there.
they brought that D back, and I'm like,
They had a
did
booty
that-
too now.
they did that D justice.
Yeah.
But they brought that D back in a way that was very much Geordi had a garage renovation, which I can truly appreciate because
Yeah.
I'm a car guy. And when he's sitting there, he's like, I've been
Just
taking
pulling it
pieces of
together.
this, and I've been doing a little bit of this, and I've been doing a little bit of this thing, and I've been putting it all together. Next thing you know, I'm gonna create a ship. Fantastic.
Yeah.
I don't know a better way to say it. Like I know they brought that whole entire stage back from the word go, but man, just fantastic.
The absolute best line in this show, in this episode at least, was when they're on there and Picard's like, standing here, I realize what I missed the most about this moment.
The best thing about
fucking
this
carpet,
is-
man.
The carpet.
That fucking
Yeah.
carpet.
It's like the perfect break in tension because, like, I'm not even like I remember what it looks like to a certain extent, but I'm not like nostalgic. Like, oh, when I saw it, I didn't like explode, but I saw it and I was like, oh, that's really cool. They brought that back, and like he breaks that moment with that little bit of humor right there, like the perfect slice,
And even
right in
Riker,
that
he's
moment.
like,
And
is
then
it
the
just, is
energized.
it smaller or am I just
Not
bigger?
energized. What did you say? Yeah, yeah. Like they did a great job with this. I'm telling y'all though, they're sacrificing that ship and themselves to save humanity. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Let's talk
They'll
about Jack.
sacrifice a ship. I don't know about all of them.
No, they're sacrificing all of them.
Well,
Let's
they've
talk about
already
Jack.
sacrificed
No, listen. The only reason I say that, all of the OG characters completely separated themselves from all of the younger characters that we think are going to replace them in the future. Think about it. Everyone did. They all separated
Why?
themselves,
Think about
and for
why.
good reason.
Like Troy said, I'm never so happy to see so many wrinkles in my life.
Right.
Yep.
Right. But this show, man, is amazing. Okay, I didn't like. Okay, it bothered me with the whole situation with. Okay, we see the beginning where, the psychiatrist, I can't remember her name. What's his name's girl, is
About
talking
Troy?
to
Deanna?
Picard's son, and they're talking about going through the red door, and she goes through that, and he, has his little moment where he kind of has his teenage or young adult freak out, and I'm going to react before I really think about what I'm doing. He's like, I'm leaving and I'm going to go confront them and I'll take them out. And it's like, well, no, you're not. We know it's not going to happen.
Young buck.
And nobody tries to stop him. Like, didn't even attempt to stop him. Like, you're like, I get it. Like, if you're like in a mall and you get mad at your dad and you walk out, that's plausible. You're in space on a ship.
No one goes to malls anymore, man.
No, I get that, but I'm using an old man example. What I'm saying is, you're on space in a ship. You can't just be like, "Fuck y'all, I'm out," and leave.
No, he had a lot more than that.
Take
He
over
had mind
the
control.
security people and say, "Oh, I'm walking
Yes.
out."
I guess, but nobody even attempted to stop him.
No
They're
one
like, "We're
needs
gonna
to
watch him
attempt to
cry."
stop him. He's walking through the halls with 2 armed security guards,
And can take
and
on
he's
more.
walking
if he
through these
wants to.
halls, literally being under like the impression that he is being ushered somewhere, not that he is in charge. It's a complete flip of like the mindset, right? So if you're being armed, escorted somewhere, then you're being
Nobody's gonna question it.
exactly. So what happens on the other side of that? And I bumped up a few things against this episode. That was not one of them. I didn't have a problem with him going somewhere. I had a problem with actually I didn't have a problem with the Borg stuff or the Patrick Stewart stuff or the conversation between him and Jack. Like, I didn't have a problem with any of that. My problems were with the what's the best way to say it? I when he leaves, he's gonna go meet the Borg Queen, right? Like he is doing the teenager thing to where it's like I can fix
take her
this
out.
right now by just taking her out.
Mhm.
And it's not that that was a problem. Like he just thought that he could go and do it, but there were no safeguards put in place that prevented him from taking any shuttle out after all of the shit that has happened throughout this whole entire season.
That's what I mean,
right?
Yeah.
Like, Jack is not a good guy. Like if we were, good yes, bad no, like if there were one of those that he fell in, it would be bad. No, he doesn't get to go. They keep trying to reinvent the old story with the Borg, which I am fine with. I love how they introduce this new angle of the Borg. I think
Well, let me ask you this, since we're talking about that. Let me ask you this: when at the point when you had the door, and Deanna saw what was behind it, and she wigged out, did you have any inkling what it was going to be? Did you even think Borg?
Okay.
Because whatever she saw, she wigged the hell out.
I want to say yes and no, because yes, because there's one thing that would make most people in Star Trek universe wig out. Yes, because there's a history with Picard. And yes, because we've already been under the guise of knowing that there was a Borg presence in this universe, like the Picard series universe, even with the Queen in the last season and everything else. But I can say no because I didn't expect it, and no because I didn't understand how it connected to the changelings. So it was a very 50-50. Like, I felt like if there's going to be something that takes Picard out, it has to be the Borg, right? Like that was such a main storyline in The Next Generation. Such a main storyline, period, even into the movies. So much that traversed this era of Star Trek. What I am interested in knowing is how they're going to tell this and make this story actually keep going on. Because if they use this as a scenario to where it ends the Borg as being the bad guy, I don't think that helps the Star Trek universe. The Borg kind of need to keep going on. I saw this episode specifically as an advancement of hardware to software. You know, as a computer guy with like a massive background in like cybersecurity stuff.
That'd be software to hardware, then, wouldn't it?
No, because
digital to analog.
No, because it's analog to digital.
Away from like the actual, like, you know, the physical assimilation. They're actually going into like the.
Okay, I'm thinking about the ships. I'm thinking about the ships. The ships, the digital analog.
Basically.
Okay, I was thinking about ships, digital analog.
It's the opposite. So. Yeah. So exactly what Sarah's saying. It is the imagine if if you need to be connected to the internet, you need a cord. Now you don't need a cord. Like everything's Wi-Fi.
You go to Wi-Fi.
Exactly, and that is where my mind went exactly in this episode, where it's like now they don't need that shit. Now it's like. We've introduced all of the things that we've needed in your transportation, which brings up another magnificent point that I want to talk about. What happens to Data when he gets transported?
What do you mean?
Once again, we go back and forth with the whole, what does transportation actually do to the human body? And if Data gets transported from point A to point B, is his DNA that doesn't exist get transported and then
well, it's the same thing as if you're transporting anything inanimate. Think about, especially when
I know
Roxanne Troy, when she came, look at all the luggage she brought with her.
I know. All I'm saying is, where does it stop? And we have that conversation to where like this, I like what they're doing story wise. Don't get me wrong. But we start to muddle a few things whenever we really get into the nitty gritty of it all. And if the transportation thing is causing a DNA resequence that is incorporating this Borg DNA into it, man, like, where do we stop with that?
Yeah.
Pickle, you are absolutely right. McCoy and Pulaski, yes. Because McCoy, he did not like the transporter because he had scrambled everything. He's like, no, I would take a shuttle any day.
What about this one right here?
Okay, I want to answer this.
Yes, answer this for me.
Okay, Frontier Day, that was the day that the very first Enterprise, what was it, an NX-01? That was like Archer and his crew. They were the first. That was like the first ship to actually like be launched.
Okay.
First contact day. That was the day that Cochrane had his first like warp drive. That was if you ever watched the movie First Contact, that's what we're talking about.
Okay.
First contact day is where he has his first warp flight, and then that's when the Vulcans actually come to Earth to meet humans because humans had finally gotten to the
next stage
warp,
of their progression.
like for the warp capability.
Okay.
That's one thing, because that's another thing with the Prime Directive is you don't really want to mess with a civilization until they get to a certain point, especially like with warp technology.
Push them to,
and that was why he was able to recover the dish from the Enterprise.
Exactly.
D, right?
So it's like in the very first scene of
Prime Directive.
Which Kelvin, I can't remember if it was the first one or the second one, the Kelvin movies, where it opens up where you see them. What was it, Kirk and Spock flying, like leaping off because you had all these other little indigenous folks after them.
Is it the first one? Because
I can't remember. No, I think it might be the second or third one.
I think it's the second one because the first one, Kirk and Spock haven't met yet.
Yeah, so it might be the second one, second or third one, or whatever. Yeah. That's when they like the Enterprise rises from the water. So that's where
the second one. Yeah, that's the
so
beginning.
That's where they get in trouble because you're already like messing with a civilization that is not to that point yet.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is.
And to your point, Star Trek Enterprise.
Starts out at the beginning because that was with the things that at the beginning it looks like they're really big and they come down to the very bottom. They're very tiny creatures. They're chasing after them for the.
No, these were the white face folks or whatever. They were running through the jungle and they jumped off the cliff.
Almost like
that's the third one I'm thinking of. You're right. That's the second one you're in. Yep.
Yeah.
You're right. Okay.
But and Pickle, to your point, it's like Star Trek Enterprise. That was a really good show. That show got treated bad. It should have had more episodes. It got.
I didn't watch it. I watched a few of it.
It was good.
It was not my time.
Because this one took place before the original series. So this. If you watch that, it would make sense what Frontier Day meant.
Okay. Well, the only reason I ask is because I feel like I know that First Contact Day was like a week and a half ago, like real life First Contact Day. Because I sent y'all a message and I felt like I had brownie points for that because I hit that and I was like, yeah, First Contact Day.
I gave you accolades.
Yeah, you did. You're right. I was going to say, I just felt like if they were the same day, they missed a golden opportunity to not drop the finale on the same day as that actually is in real life. But if they're different days, that makes sense. So I was watching and I was like, if this is the same day, they really should have waited 2 more weeks to drop, or really should have waited or dropped this episode 2 weeks earlier. Like on the same day this is representing. But if it's different days, I get that.
Yeah. It's different premises, I think, is really what you come out to.
Because it's like I said, the First Contact, that's when you actually meet another species. Frontiers, when you actually have your first ship, where a manned cruise ship that you're sending out.
Yeah. And so, let's talk about where we're at. Okay, so here you are with Frontier Day at this point in time, and we knew that Frontier Day was going to be the big thing. Like they were playing it up hardcore. Like nothing was going to stop us from believing that Frontier Day was not going to be the thing that was going to happen this season. The issue that I have with it is, bringing back the Borg was a good idea. You kind of have to. Like, it is
it's like the ultimate villain that you can have to kind of close this out.
The swan song to Picard is the thing that would stop him. It's the biggest story that you have from Picard in general as the years have gone on. The Kudus was just such a different storyline than anything else you could create in Star Trek, and it was new and it was impressive and it worked, and there were very few loopholes that you create actually in this thing as it was being created. I like what they're doing now. I like the idea of creating Jack as a next generation style problem just through DNA. I hated how he just succumbed so fast to the Queen. Homeboy didn't even move when he got pierced through the neck. Like, didn't even flinch. Didn't even eye flinch. Like nothing happened in that scene, and I hated that. I wanted to see more reaction, but I do feel like there is a possible storyline to where they can kind of tell more.
Mhm.
This is the penultimate of the finale season, so I don't
the
understand
end
what
all
they're
be
gonna
all.
do.
That's
Mhm.
right. Where they all die.
Um,
They're all gonna die.
Stop it.
I love
I
Sarah.
know, I
Sarah
know.
cuts me that look, that wife look at me right whenever like my
Stop
wife
it.
does that. Yeah. Well,
I hate it. Go ahead. Go
Well,
ahead.
I'll say, can I ask you a question? Okay, so the last season, okay, ends on the Borg Queen possessing that cute blonde chick.
Yep.
What's her name?
The Doctor.
The Doctor. Okay, and it ends on that. She's walking on Earth as a Borg, and it ends. We know nothing about that this season. Okay, so are they going to tie these two together somehow?
Ross, did you
Who-
recognize the voice of the Borg Queen?
Who did they not show?
Mm-hmm.
Is the
Whose
Borg Queen
face
her?
did they not show?
I'm learning, y'all. I'm getting it. I'm telling you, I'm getting it. I picked it up and I was like, wait a second. I was like, I know she was assimilated with the Borg Queen at the end of the last series or the end of the last season. And I haven't heard crap about that this season.
Mm-hmm.
Look, I want to say one thing as a grandstand point of view. I love what they're doing with the story. I feel like what I hate about Titans is what I love about this show.
Okay.
The downside is that this does not have a major future going forward.
Okay.
We are tying up so many loose ends of stories that, yes, are dated, but they also deserve so much more time and so much more delicacy than what we are actually getting. And I feel like that is one of Star Trek's one of their biggest problems, period. But I love what they do because you cannot take away from any episode in this season, much less series, and not appreciate the shit they're bringing you.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just so much. I mean, if the Borg Queen ends up being the Doctor, I'm there. Like I saw it. I was waiting for it. They're like they didn't show her face, and I'm like, there's a reason why they didn't show her face. There's things that are happening.
But you heard the voice.
You heard,
But
the
it wasn't her
voice.
You
voice.
heard the voice.
It was the original.
It was.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm
Which
like,
would make sense if she possessed her, right?
ah.
Okay. So I guess the last question I have for this series, we have the finale next week. Are y'all going to need to take a break off? Like, do we need to take a break next week when everybody on the show dies that you love? Because it's happening, y'all. Sarah's going to
I'm gonna go ahead and warn you now. I've got to head to Charlotte
happening.
next week, so
Look,
I will make it.
I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to lie. To be truly honest with you, I'm going to be a little upset if they don't. To be truly honest with you,
I feel like there will be a sacrifice. I mean, I feel like there will be.
That is the like. I feel like for all these characters, like I said, for me personally, if I could choose a way to die, it's saving somebody. Okay, I feel like that is the ultimate in their moment hero type thing. Like, if we're going to take out the Borg completely, we won't be here anymore. But you won't have to worry about this anymore. Type thing. And I feel like that is a great, from what I know with Star Trek so far, that is a great way to write out these characters. Okay. There is too much nostalgia going on. This ship, all these characters together, they've separated themselves from all the characters that we've all agreed are going to be the future of Star Trek. They're going to tell a story in the future with them. They've separated themselves from them. So what better thing to draw all these characters together than our parents and our loved ones, the people we looked up to, sacrificed themselves for the universe to live.
Well, see, and
we have to do this now.
And that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking something probably will happen for Picard, especially bringing in the Borg, especially bringing in the Locutus. Closing that circuit, so to speak, because it was one thing he said it was kind of interesting because. Now it sounds like, he didn't have that syndrome. It was something that was implanted, and because he's like, well, maybe that's why I could, even after I was unassimilated, I could still hear he's like, he was still connected. So in essence, that's almost like what he's kind of passed on to Jack. So, I'm kind of like stealing myself and kind of like just preparing myself that I'm thinking that probably is what's going to happen. I feel like Picard probably is going to, he'll be the one for some reason is Jack's saving grace. Because I think it's interesting how all the young ones, especially what they say, 25 or whatnot, because of the way like the brain develops in that certain area, like they're the ones that got assimilated, where all the old folks were like, I guess it's not going to hit us. But, and then also
I think they were definitely steering the ship on that one. Like, here's the people we need you to kill.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not going to assimilate them. You should kill them.
But
I felt like that's where they were going.
But also the point too is it was really interesting how now they have all these ships, all the fleet ships. They are talking as one, so it's almost like they're
completely hive-minded on the Federation side. Yes,
and
I thought that from the get-go,
and that was cool because even Picard said, "I cannot believe they're promoting this thing that is so." Like the Borg, like
it's like one of those things. Like you can see the pro of it. You're like, okay, this is going to be great. But then on the flip side of it, you're like, I don't think this.
None of it made sense to me.
This
like
is not
tactically,
a good idea.
from a tactical standpoint, none of it made sense, and that's what I bucked up against that. And one other major thing, and the other major thing was Geordi's daughters and how Geordi reacted.
Dude, I'd be losing my mind.
How do you do that?
And especially like with Sydney, he was all upset because, you're going to lose, you lose your career. I don't want you to do this. I'm trying to protect you. And then, and then finally, he respects her the fact, I'm just doing what you're. But you tell me my 2 kids have been assimilated by the Borg. I'm going to lose my mind.
I don't give a fuck about the 69 Chevelle I got in the garage that I'm hooking up. Like that doesn't mean a thing to me.
Because especially the experience he's gone through with the Borg, seeing the assimilation, seeing all that shit. It's hard to come back from that. It really is.
Y'all are right. But you got to remember, Picard has a kid that's in the same situation. So he's got to deal with the same stuff.
Just found out about.
Well, okay, it doesn't matter. If I found out like yesterday that I had a kid, I'd still love him, so I mean.
Well, technically, he doesn't really know
those
where.
2 girls.
You're right. You're right. But at the same time, if I'm in Geordi's position, you're right. I'm gonna be pissed at first, but then very, very quickly, based on my military training, everything else, I'm gonna realize that me sitting here being upset and bitching about it is not gonna do anything. I've got to go do something to fix this, and that's what he did. So I don't mind that. He took the military approach of, okay, I can sit here and bitch and whine about my kids because it sucks my kids, but guess what? The world don't give a shit about my kids. If I want to save my kids, I've got to go do this. I
would love to say that, but there is something
with Star
about
Trek,
the
needs of the many outweigh the needs of the
And that, yes, once again, I would love to say that.
But then again, think about all the situations that they have gotten themselves into.
What is he going to do otherwise? Is my question. Like, I get what you mean, but like, what can he possibly do otherwise, other than what they did?
It is not the fact that he. It's not the fact that he lacks emotive. It's the fact that he lacks emotion.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I feel like that is a thing that.
I had to fall apart for a minute, then pull myself together, and then worry about fixing it.
Yes, exactly. Like if they gave me that moment to where he fell apart, I wouldn't be so bad about it. But it's not the problem that I have him doing the right thing. It's the fact that I don't have him losing his shit to do the right thing. Because I don't have a problem with people doing that. I would do that. I would personally do the right thing above everything else. But if you don't have that personal moment to where you lose your crap about what has happened to you personally, if you don't progress after that, then like it's very tough.
I think for the sake of storytelling, they went around that. I think you can safely assume, because he did have a couple of comments and they had to kind of wake him up from this,
but he didn't have any emotion.
I would have rather them did what they did than spend 10 more minutes of him bitching and moaning, coming to the same conclusion. that okay, it sucks, but I got to
No,
do
we've
this.
already
Like,
had the moment.
know?
Like I said, we've already had the moment when he didn't agree with what Sydney was doing. So we already had that back and forth.
Yeah.
So maybe they just kind of sped through that. Like, oh, you kids assimilate now.
Th-
Oh well,
that's all fair. But yeah, like I don't want to rob what you guys are saying. I just felt like if you were going to have the moment, that should have been when you had the moment. Because if you're going to have it prior to, I don't think it has the same gravitas as it does in this moment.
Or you could just be in straight shock. Like, what the hell is going on right now? I don't even know how to process this.
Yeah.
Or they need to bench Geordi. Like, like Geordi, you did this thing, you had this ship ready, but you're not ready to be a part of it.
I didn't really
felt
have
like there could have been yeah.
Skeleton crew.
One thing I wanted to bring up, and this is my last point that I have in my notes, because I actually just added it in there, thought about it, is I am upset that Shaw died. I'm very upset Shaw died. Yeah. I think that you could have gone forward
from the beginning of this episode.
I mean, he's basically died 3 times already in this series, in this episode,
yes.
in this season. Yes. But I hate that because I like this character, and I do believe they're moving forward with a new Star Trek generation with Geordi's kids, with Kirk's kid, and they'll probably and the other characters they had that got assimilated that were under 25. I think they're all going to be the future of Star Trek. And that's cool. I'm ready for a Star Trek show. You could have Shaw be that captain. And I'm so pissed off because that show with 7 of 9 being his, actually, I think 7 of 9 is about to die. But even if she didn't, and she was his number 2 or number 1, that would have been a good show with him being the captain. I think he did a great job on this show. I loved his character. I loved everything he said. I loved the way he acted. I would have wanted to see this guy more in the future. And I hate, even though I love a show having stakes, that they had to kill him off in this show and it's such an easy kind of way too. He's been through so much, and then you just kind of got jostled. Kit was killed. It was oh, okay. I don't know. I just hate it. I wish Shaw could live.
I got something on that. All right. So I felt like there was the moment where Picard told him what they needed to do, and he was going to push back against it, that he's eventually going to die. So it was the culmination of the story that he hated Borg figures. He hated them because of Locutus. He hated them because of everything else. That the whole dramatic dialogue that he had, or monologue that he had, sitting in the bar adjacent to Picard and his son, was very important for this series.
Mm-hmm.
When you have that, there has to be a reason. That reason definitely went back to why he refused to call 7 of 9, and he was trying to reach a point where he could better the Federation by more or less not moving past the idea that the Borg were actually a surviving entity.
Mm-hmm.
And now you have him come full entire circle to where he doesn't even refuse to call her that. He calls her that by name as he's dying, and that is a massive character arc in this series, much less season of the series for him. So I'm on board with it. I don't have a problem with any of it. I just think that he deserved a better death. Absolutely, for sure, 100%.
This is a classic example, and I don't care what anybody says, this is exactly what this is, of fridging a character. If you don't know what fridging a character is, it's killing one character to progress another one's story. Generally, in the past, it's been women. It's you fridge a female character to progress a male character story. This is fridging a character. They are fridging this character. They killed off Shaw to say the 7 of 9, the one time, to have that one line, and to give her the confidence based on the commander that has never looked at her the right way. They fridged this character to push forward her story. And that's cool. I'm okay with that because I like 7 and 9. I really, really would have liked to see this character in the future. And now he's dead. And I can't.
Oh.
So it kind of sucks because like I really, really of all the characters that I've met this season for the first time, which there's been a few for me, I like him the most. Like I guess I can relate to him the most. He's the most how I would act if I was in his position. Like, whoa, wait, what the fuck's going on? We can't do this. Oh, wait, we
Yeah.
have to.
So he got to the point
Okay, if we
then.
have to, I'll do it. Okay.
Yeah, like I'm saying, he
Yeah.
got to the point. It's like, oh, we need to get back to the Sol system. He's like, what?
Are you fucking serious?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
You mean the
Yeah.
ones where they're basically targeting us? You know,
Mhm.
basically we're their faces on the the bulls.
Yep.
Or the targets. And then Picard's like, well, it's our only chance. He's like, and I could say, he's like, you didn't even see his face. You could hear it in his voice, like, fuck it. All right, let's do
I'm
it. I
dead.
mean, what's
Yeah.
All right.
What else are we gonna do?
That's one song. Yep.
I mean, it's like we've done all this crazy shit. Hell, why not? All right, just whatever.
But I did really love that character. I hate that he died.
Oh, I definitely hate it because I'm with you. I felt like they did a great job developing him.
Mhm.
And if you know anything about him, it's not his first character in Star Trek. Like he played a write-off character in, was it Voyager? Or was
The
it?
actor that plays this character did.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's his like second actual Star Trek character that he has ever done. But this one is like fields beyond what he did for his last one.
Yeah.
So now that he is actually playing a captain, like it's amazing to me that he has brought such a presence that I hated from the get-go because he did not stand up when Picard entered the room to where he is now.
Yeah, I agree. And that's what you got to love about a show that can do this. It can have a character that you absolutely hate at the beginning when you meet him, and love him when he dies.
Oh yeah.
And that's what good writing does right there. When it can change your opinion on a character completely, good writing can make you love or hate a character. Okay, and if you love or hate this character, you're supposed to. Like you're supposed to hate this character, and if you do, they've done a good job writing this character. Okay, but when you could take a character that you hate, or not hate, but dislike in the beginning, and love in the end, that's even better writing. Because it takes a lot to pull emotions from people. People draw snap judgments. They see something, they draw an opinion, and generally, that's what they go with. Not just in movies, in life. With people you see, everybody does it. Okay, whether you know it or not, everybody does that. Okay, so to be able to do that in a drama series, or to make me feel for somebody that I once didn't like, even though I never didn't really like this guy. Like I said, I relate to him. That's the way I would react to almost everything he's done. It's just good writing.
I'm not gonna lie. I can't say I didn't hate him. I don't know what it is about him. It's his face. It's his dark eye circles or something that I just was under the impression of the Dave Matthews Band. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I can't tell you why. It just was there. It was just a thing.
Because you're a
And
90s kid, man. That's why.
I know, but there was I was waiting for him to say, "We wake up in the morning." Like I don't know what it was. It was just there.
Yeah.
But in all seriousness, I hated the fact that this character died, and I hope that man, I truly hope that the purpose going forward is usable. The downside is that there's only one more episode. So the last thing that I can say about this is there are plenty of motifs that we see throughout countless good stories, right? Like I tons of end ideas you come across. And number one, I'm a car guy. So yes, I'm going to say this, but I'm going to say that I totally got Fast and Furious vibes off of this because of the whole family and because of the whole, here we are together. We're going to do this thing. It's our last ride. It's our last thing, and blah, 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 blah. I got those vibes just because of they ended up on the Enterprise D. They ended up on the OG ship. They ended up on the car in the garage that was getting worked on because it was old and it needed more, things to bring to it to make it functional again. And I kind of hated that because I was like, I've seen this before in like a lesser told story. And here it is again in Enterprise. I'm like, you guys better make this like finale worth it. Like, I'm not saying that I have hated any bit about this season. I'm just saying that I hope that whatever the finale is and whatever it is that we are building towards is something unexpected and, dare say, fantastic. Like,
Yeah. No, I agree, man.
I want something really good.
I think they're setting up for a really good finale. Like, as long as they kill all these characters off in a really, savvy way, I'm cool with that. Like I said, I'm totally cool with doing the Captain America and driving their ship into the Borg hot Matrix beehive and killing everything. Like, totally analog style. Because nobody ever expects that. I'm just interested to see how it ends. Like I said, I'm going to be a little upset, to be truly honest with you, if they don't kill them all off. Like
Picard or all of them?
All of them.
Ooh.
You about to be upset.
No, I mean, I'm not going to lie. Because here's the thing. What are you going to do with these characters going forward?
They're going to live their lives.
But what better way to write the end of their song than to sacrifice yourself to end? I mean, it just makes it all that much more glorious.
You're not wrong. When Rafi stayed back, I was under the impression that I was like that was part of the generation that was going to stay back to survive.
Right.
And the rest of them
what I thought.
forward.
That exact moment was what made me start thinking this.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
Because Rafi could have gone, easily could have gone. And everybody they want to survive that is younger stayed back somehow or another. No matter how it happened, ended up staying back somehow. And the nostalgic points with the ship at the end, how much they've been leaning into. Oh, I've missed this for so long. I can't believe, we haven't done this. Yeah, it's because you're about to experience it for the last time, just like these actors are experiencing it for the last time. Now, I can't imagine.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
I can't imagine these actors being younger and acting together and having this huge life together and then coming back in this moment. I can't imagine even more what it would have been like for all these actors to be together on the old set.
Oh, I think
can you imagine for them what that was
all
like?
All over the place talking about.
Oh my gosh! It had to have been amazing, absolutely amazing. Like just imagine, Ross. Like, and we actually could probably do this. If 30 years ago we were doing something, Bill and Leah's, and 30 years later we're going to doing the exact same thing. Going to like it would be nuts, Bill and Leah's. Just saying.
Do you know who I saw there last weekend?
You went to Bill and Leah's last weekend? Yeah.
I did that. I did finally.
Who'd you see?
The guy with the last name Barnhill.
Lee Barnhill? Yeah. Really? Wow, okay.
Did not recognize him until he was walking out.
He actually adopted my old cat. So I've been in contact with him recently.
Oh.
Yeah. But anyway, that's some old Kernersville stuff right there.
Squirrel.
Yeah, look, seriously, I'm loving this show. I cannot wait to see how they go with the end. I joke with y'all pushing this whole death thing at the end, but I really do think that's the way it's going to go out. And to be honest with you, I think that's a great way to go out. I really do. I know for fans, like huge fans like y'all, it's going to suck to see that. But I mean, think about it like this. Like, at least you can say that these fans you love so much were the ones who were able to continue the universe that you love so much. Like, what a sacrifice to continue the universe you love, We're going to see, man. We got a finale next week, and it's the last time we are going to see Patrick Stewart as Jean-Luc Picard. It's going to be nuts. It's going to be pretty epic.
Just stab me right in the heart and twist. That's what you're doing, man. That's what you're doing.
I hear you.
I know it's coming, but la 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 la.
I mean, it doesn't affect me as much as it does y'all, but man, it's gonna be a moment when it happens.
It will one day. Maybe
Well, at least on the bright side,
Yeah.
season 2 of Strange New Worlds comes out in June.
Okay.
Thank God, finally.
So
and then
now we get to
need my Discovery finale too.
Yeah, but Pike,
Well,
I'll be glad to see Pike again.
I'll be glad to see Pike again too. I like Pike.
Yes.
Well, you know what? We actually got to talk about that because with these 2 shows ending next week, we're going to run out of stuff to talk about. We got 3 guests lined up next month, so we got a lot of stuff going on next month. I need to talk to Lori about coming on here. Lori Calcaterra about coming on here and talking about Path of the Pale Rider. The 3rd book of her series there.
Mm-hmm.
You know it comes out next week, right?
What comes out next week?
Power Rangers.
Oh,
Once and Always.
Hold on. Is that the movie they were talking about or the miniseries? Because they're rebooting a miniseries.
The miniseries? The OG?
Is it Jason David Frank? Is that his name?
Well, I mean, I don't know if he's in it, but it's definitely it's the Billy Blue character.
Okay.
That has been taking care of all of the stuff that's been trying to get things going on. So
we're gonna find it and we're gonna watch it.
Oh,
and you know what we should do?
Netflix, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think it's on Netflix.
Well, we're gonna find it on Netflix. We're gonna watch it. You know,
we found it.
Yeah, we found it. There you go. You know what we should do though is seriously, if we should cover that, and we should check out the YouTube Power Ranger series, the one James Vanderbilt did, because that series is effing amazing. Not series.
It's not a series though, right?
It's not a series. It's one short.
Just one short. Yeah.
One short.
Oh,
we should cover that too because that short is effing amazing.
It's got Katie Sackhoff in it, right?
Does it? I don't know. I'll have to go back and watch it again.
She play Kimberly or some short like that?
I'll have to go back and watch it again. I'm not sure. Yeah. Either way, we can definitely get in some Power Rangers. But I've got nothing else about Picard. I don't want to get out of it unless y'all are totally done. So y'all have anything else you want to say?
I want them to bring it home in such a big way that I don't even know how to describe it.
I think they're going to. I think you're not going to be disappointed with this finale.
Well, that's what's so wild because, like I said, 1 episode left, and there's a lot of ground to cover.
So much.
I mean, yes and no.
Yes,
not really.
Yes,
we've established our problem. We've established what we have to do to stop. Well, no, we haven't established what we got to do. We established the problem. And that's a big thing, I guess. So, yeah, I guess you're right. There's a little bit of ground to cover, but not if they all die flying into the Matrix beehive. Then there's not a lot to cover.
That big ass damn cube. Oh my God.
Katie Sackhoff plays Kimberly.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. I know Vanderbeek was in it, but I wasn't sure about anything else. So that's a great little YouTube short. If you haven't checked it out, go watch it. But all right.
Yeah, I'll give you details on that next week.
All right. I got nothing else, y'all. I'm totally spent. No more shows that I've watched. No more news that I've covered. No more trailers that I've seen. You got anything else?
Yeah, I think that's about it.
This was a long one. We haven't gone 3 hours in quite a while, but this was a fun time. I was like,
they're good shows, man. I mean,
well, that's what I was telling you guys earlier. I mean, after seeing Mandalorian, after seeing Picard, and it was really hard to pay attention to Titans because
you watched them in the wrong order.
You did.
Watch them in a different order next week.
First.
You watch them in a different order. Watch them in a different order next week. You watch them definitely in the wrong order.
Ones first.
I hear you.
Because nobody will be talking about Titans.
It's like food. Save the best bites for last. You'll enjoy it more.
Well, I wasn't going to get spoiled by Titans. I probably would have got spoiled by everything else. So I made sure that those were the first ones.
All
right. Well, I mean, and that episode came out yesterday on my birthday. So I'm like, happy birthday to you.
You have an excuse. Yeah, exactly. You had a birthday this week. So, I mean, you know, you got.
I was going to send you the text. I was like, Sarah gets the D on her birthday.
Guarantee. Right?
Yay.
All right, yeah, let's go ahead and get out of here then. We're coming back next week. We're going to talk about the Picard finale, the Mando finale, Titans coming up. There might be a new show that drops between that here and there, trailers, all the things we've been watching, because I'm planning on watching True Detective. I think I got a friend at work that wants me to watch that, True Detective.
What?
Yeah, so I'm going to watch True Detective.
Really?
And I'm going to watch, what was that one you were telling me a minute ago, Ross, earlier? Night Agent. I'm going to watch that.
Yeah, that's on my list. That's on my
watch
list.
Night
Watch
Agent.
it. It's a good watch.
And I'm sure that between that here and there, there's going to be something else somebody recommends for me. I'm going to finish Behind Her Eyes. So check that one out. That's a pretty good series so far from what I've seen. But yeah, man, we're here every Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube. Just chopping up the shit and talking about things we love. Sarah, where can they find you at?
You can follow me on Twitter at MyLadyKitten. That's pretty much it. And here on Fridays.
And here on Fridays, that's right. Ross, where can they find you at, buddy?
Right here, bitches.
Aquí, Spanish for here.
Yep.
Folks, you can find me at the Bat Daddy 52 on Twitter. It's my personal handle. Check out at GCS Podcast 1 is the show handle. We're here live every Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube, unless life gets in the way, and we'll let you know beforehand. Beyond that, we've got a lot of things to talk about, and we're always covering all the fun stuff. If you've got suggestions, you've got things you want us to talk about, if you just want to hop on the show, come check us out. But you can catch us on any podcatcher of your choice when I drop the episodes.
There you go.
I got to do that too. When I drop the episodes, you can find us on any podcatcher of your choice. But it gives you more reason to come here and check us out live on Fridays at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, because
you never know what we're going to say.
You never know what we're going to say, and you can be in the chat room. You can interact with us. I will post your comments. I will comment on your comments. So it's really, really fun. I thank everybody for being in here. And guys, until next week, I guess all I can say is keep pounding.